And we are live. Hello, everyone across the universe. Happy Wednesday, May 10th. Goodness, it's going to be December tomorrow.
Don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud.
Yeah. Right.
They'll hear you.
It's like time really flies. It truly flies.
It does.
But thank you guys for joining us on YouTube, on the gaming channel, and on the podcast channel, and then also on Twitch on the gaming channel and the podcast channel, and on Twitter on the gaming channel and the podcast channel. We are doing a Mother's Day stream, and I wanted to bring together beautiful mothers. That this doesn't mean that if you didn't get an invite, doesn't mean that you weren't beautiful. I just got a bunch of people together. I got who I could at the moment to come through. We did have some others that were going to join us, but they weren't able to come through tonight. But I wanted to, we got to do this last year. It's something that I want to be able to continue doing every year. I do feel like there is not enough Mother's Day stuff that happens in the gaming realm, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Any Mother's stuff? I'm sure there's something. The internet's too vast to say no. The internet is too vast. So I'm like, I want to do this for Mother's Day. I did it for Father's Day last year. I want to do that again. And then later this month, I will be doing a mental health awareness one. So there'll be a few creators. And then if any of you ladies want to join that conversation, let me know. But it'll be later this month where I want to bring together a lot of creators to talk about, in a similar fashion where we talk about mental health. That'll be the subject. Whereas this one's more the subject of being a mom and doing what we do. But before we dive into anything, you guys watching can send in questions. Go ahead and send those questions in. Include hashtag Q&A or something so it'll be easier for me to track in here. Yeah, because I don't have any of the interns. Unless interns from the podcast channel, if you want to slide in here and start things, I will not stop you. So let me know and I'll slide you in. But yeah, so while you guys are sending the questions, and we'll start hitting up those questions and getting into those things. We'll start off with the introduction. So you guys see the lovely panel of people we have today, but we'll have them introduce themselves. And Sheera, we'll start with you. And just to be fair, because last time International Women's people were like, oh, you didn't say who's going to, we're going in the order of which y'all see people, okay? So if you see the person before you go, that means you are next, okay? All right, Sheera, we'll start with you.
Hey, everybody, it's Sheera. A lot of you may know me from your boy Roshi's channel. I am a mom. Some people know that. Some people are surprised still when they hear it. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. And I look forward to talking to all of you lovely people today.
Awesome. And Miss Pinky.
Hey, friends. It's your favorite gaming auntie. Miss Pinky313. I am from Detroit, born and raised. I probably go home to glory here. I'm a mom of 2 and a bonus daughter. My son just had a birthday and he's turning 14 and I'm distraught. I just had him. It feel like but yeah, you can catch me on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Takers Gaming. Now, a manager at Takers Gaming Lounge. So
tell people, for those who don't know, which I really want you to take time to talk about it, but really quick, tell people what Takers is.
Well, Takers is a gaming lounge. We have PC gaming there, console gaming, retro gaming. I can't believe that I say the Nintendo 64 is a retro game, but yes.
Oh my gosh. We that old.
It's a retro game now. And then we also do parties, tournaments, special events and stuff. We're going to have our grand opening next month in June. Yay! We'll have special people coming out. The Pistons will be there and everything. So it's really taken off. So I'm very much happy about it. So being a part of the groundwork is just amazing. So yeah, if you're in Detroit, Metro Detroit area, come on, see us Takers Gaming.
Yes, go Pinky!
That's fire. That's really fire.
Yes.
Right, Leash.
All right.
She's like, all right, I'm ready.
Okay. It's my turn. Thank you, Christine, for warning me this time. Hi, everybody. My name is Leash. Everybody knows me over on Twitch and TikTok as LeeshCapeesh. Most of my community knows that I'm a mom, but if you don't, I'm a mom. My daughter is 13 years old, so I have one of the, older children. Had her when I was 20, so I definitely had her young. So I have that perspective there. And I don't know. I had ups and downs as a mom, but all in all, I love my little twin, my little baby butler. That's what we call her over on my stream. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm yelling at her to go get me some water or turn off the air or go turn on the light or can you bring me my bottle of wine? Like I'm that mom. So yeah, that's me.
That's funny. I can't wait for those days. Right now, I can't say that to my little one, but
that's what they're here
one
for.
day I'll be like, Mimi, can you please pass me the bottle of wine? She's gonna be taller than me anyways, and I can't reach the alcohol. It's way high up, so I'm gonna need her to do it one day. Right, Ash.
Hi everyone. Most of y'all know me from modding and Christine's chat. I also stream on Twitch. You can find me at Allure1 on Twitch. Also, I am a mother of 3. I have a daughter and 2 sons, ranging from 12 to 7. Most of my days consist of just dealing with them, and then that 7-year-old, I don't know where he came from. But
Say it again.
Listen.
They've been here before.
That's a whole nother child.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my daughter has autism. She's 12. So she's high functioning. So I didn't have to deal with some of the challenges that some other mothers had to deal with that. But it's been a journey and it's been great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then, because on that subject, we have a couple experienced moms in that, so we do.
Let me cough before.
All right, Tasha, who are you?
Hello, I am Tasha, Natasha. I am half of
Don't change
Married
your name
to the
again
Real.
now, okay? I've learned Tasha, okay?
I'm
then
sorry.
just Ash. I was like, okay,
It was just I just tried
you.
to be cute. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to change it. But I'm half of Married to the Real, where me and my husband do reaction videos and whatever else we throw on there, to be honest. I do own a business where I make natural and vegan products for self-care, self-love purposes. I kind of got that idea because of COVID, like everybody was going through, baby. We was all going through. And so I was like, you know what? I ran myself raggedy. And like, how I'm going to take care of somebody else if I can't take care of myself? So that's kind of how that started. I have a wonderful community that supports me with that as well. I always tell y'all ladies that are on the panels, if y'all ever want anything, just send me y'all address. I don't mind. I feel like we all need to pamper ourselves every now and then. I do have 3 boys, ranging from 17 to 7. My oldest is about to graduate in a few weeks, and my youngest has autism. That has been a journey. I'm very appreciative because it has taught me to be very patient. I feel like I lost my patience when I had my first child, but
Girl,
I kind of got that back. He's very interesting because like my son is nonverbal, but he's starting to talk. But he's smart as far as like if you ask him stuff or if you ask him to do like school stuff, he can do all that stuff. But it's just like it's the stuff that you would think he could do that he can't do, and the stuff that you would think he can't do that he can. So that's kind of where we're at. But very blessed to have a very supportive family, even though it's just us, still. I'm glad to be here with y'all today.
That's dope.
Oh, of course. And then Tina.
I'm the female phenom. I am a mom of 2. I am a special effects makeup artist and horror lover.
Ooh, okay.
I'm also the founder of a stream team, a horror-based stream team called the Scream Reapers that consists of femmes and women of color. My 2 boys, my oldest one is graduating. We have prom next week, aka Mr. Diva. And I have a 7-year-old who is on the spectrum as well. I also documented our journey on YouTube. It's called The Adventures of Aussie Pants. So if you guys want to take a look at that, you are more than welcome as well. That like everybody else, I always feel weird when I get excited when I hear about other parents who have kids on the spectrum because now I'm not alone.
Right.
So our journey has been very interesting as well. A lot of ups and downs, meltdowns on both parts.
Oh yes.
But I'm thankful for my village and my support system because I don't know how I would make it. So and thank you for having me.
No, of course, of course. I want to say thank all of you guys for taking the time to have the conversation and to join the stream because it's not easy to do. Okay, it's not easy to do. So I do appreciate each of you guys coming on. And as far as things that Tasha, okay, you should have bigged up more self-care, self-love. Okay, all right. You like them bottles behind you. Okay. You should know better by now. Okay. I've had you on the podcast many times. Okay. All right. And this cute mirror that she sent me. So, like, ladies, oh, well, I don't need y'all to see my setup. Just see the mirror. Okay. I turned around. I was like, ooh, turn that back around. I'm glad the tabs are not showing. But, anyways, I feel like everybody that came on here, you guys are amazing women in many different layers in what you guys do for your channels. And then from what I know, like some of you guys, we talk off stream, right? We talk, or I've met you or met your families, you know, and I feel like everybody has something really unique that they could bring to the conversation. One of the things that Leesh had said, how her daughter is on the older side. And I'm glad we have such a range because some of you guys, your kids are like toddlers, you know, 3 or 4 type of age. And then some of you guys have, I think the oldest I heard was 14, right? No. 17. 17. So we have like the whole range, unless someone just popped out a baby. At least when I said that you looked to the side, I was like, Leesh, do you have something you want to tell us? Like,
no, I'm team one and done. I take my hats off to the rest of y'all that got multiples. I knew once I had one, that was it. You know,
maybe that last one.
Oh yes.
I don't go to Jamaica. Like I went to Jamaica. That's where me and Trey got married in Jamaica, and we came back, and I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
A couple of weeks later, because we was having too much fun honeymoon, and I was like, hold on,
it's quite evident.
It was Jamaica for me.
And we do have a couple questions in the queue. Before we get to them, I do want to remind you guys that if you do have a question, go ahead and type it in the chat. Please also type #Q&A or type question in all caps. That'll make it easier for me to scout out the questions and put them in the queue for us to ask them. Oh, you know what I realized? I didn't introduce myself. I'm a hypocrite. I made everybody do it. You know, I'm gonna do it myself. I will say today I'm wigless because I did some finger coil curls that I tried the other day, and putting a wig on is gonna just mess that up. So, hello, I'm Christine, and I am a variety streamer, podcaster, reactor. I'm all over the place. So just, just Google and you'll find me somewhere. Well, actually, don't Google because there's some sites where I'm like, I didn't do that. That's not me. So just go on YouTube and Twitch
Christine,
and
is that something you
TikTok.
gotta tell us? You said, "Don't." Good thing we didn't see your tabs. Now you talk about don't Google you. What do you gotta tell us, Christine? It's always something with you.
What you doing, girl?
I'm just
The secrets.
I am a 35. I just turned 35. Goodness, I
Yes.
just turned
Happy
35
birthday,
on
boo.
Monday. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'm older, but I'll never tell.
You gotta tell because I need to know if I'm the auntie or not.
I feel like
do
I'm
wanna-
older than you.
I do want to play this game. I do want to play this game like upper.
Oh, please.
You can just say older, younger. You don't have to say the number, just older, younger. Wait, hold on. Let me just finish this really quick. So yeah, check out Potty Chat Podcast is the podcast that we run, which if you're watching on the podcast channel, then you know. But if you don't, Potty Chat Podcast, we stream that Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, as far as things coming up, we will have a mental health conversation that we'll have later this month with a few different creators and maybe some of the ladies here too. And then also in June, I will be doing something like this again, where it'll be a Father's Day conversation with daddy gamers. So, or daddy creators, if I mix it up, or if, we'll see what happens. But I look 27. Thanks, boo. Thank you. Appreciate you. Okay. I can't. It's I don't know. It's tiredness. I don't know what that's. I'm not good with the skincare regime. I'm trying to do better. Okay. I got the body stuff from Tasha. Oh, one of the things I'll say to all the ladies here, Tasha's invite is not like a shallow, transparent, courteous, like, hey, if you want to, and then you hit her up and she's like, nah, I was just kidding. No, she actually means it. So definitely hit her up. She will send you goodies. They smell good.
Other people, so that's why I don't like singularly be like, what's their email, so I can ask them if they want stuff. I don't like to be a bother. And then I have like, what is it? Is it like fear of failure where you feel like I made stuff and I know it's good, but when I send it to somebody, I feel like they're gonna hate it. So that's like another reason that I don't do it either. Because I send people stuff and everybody be like, "Oh my god, I love it." I'd be like, "No, it's trash." I'd be like,
Tasha, hush. Y'all better DM her. Okay,
I am tonight.
You're right. DM her. If you want, I can set up a group Discord DM message where y'all can just message her.
Yeah, I do, because I mean, if you want to share with your community, that's cool. But it's more so just, I just feel like we get overlooked a lot, especially being like of color, and then being women. So I just feel like that's something that I want to share, because I know how y'all putting in the work. Y'all streaming, y'all working, y'all got kids. Some of y'all got husbands and boyfriends. Like, I know what y'all doing behind the scenes that everybody else don't know. But sometimes you gotta take it and be like, bump y'all, I gotta like kick up and have a spa day, even if it's at the house. So I call my stuff like making stuff today, y'all. And I made like,
here, let me do this.
Oh my god, the lighting is trash. I made like new labels. I tried to be like colorful, so I upped my game a little bit. But
I like that one.
But yeah, I tried. It's the lighting. I can't look. I was like, I can't. But y'all just hit me up. Just hit me up.
I will.
You gotta tell me twice.
So I'm sneaking bites. So hubby and baby made me a cake.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's
and they put all the sprinkles in the world on it.
I believe it. I believe it.
So, what's the link? The link is self-care. Here, let me drop it in the chats for everybody.
And if any of y'all in the chat decide to support, I do appreciate y'all. Everything I make is natural and vegan. The only thing that would be synthetic is some of the fragrances, but I do try to use like essential oil and stuff like that when I can. So it's not this stuff where you go to the store and they got red number 5, yellow 7, like that kind of stuff in it, formaldehyde. Like, ain't got none of that stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah,
you put formaldehyde in that stuff?
Wait a minute.
Hey, you need to Google formaldehyde and then like body care, and then see what comes up. People be wilding.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. All right, that was a lovely.
People do that.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the first question we have from Sebastian. Shout out to Sebastian. So this is not in order. This is the first question we're popping up. All right. Are any of you parents soft parenting, and why?
What's that?
I think it's more like gentle parenting.
What's that?
Like it's just right. And mind you, gentle parenting is a spectrum itself, right? There's you have the lighter side of the spectrum where it's just that they don't beat their kids. And then you have the more extreme side of the spectrum where they don't say no to their kids at all.
Oh shit.
No.
Don't say no.
That's wild. Say no. Kids will ask you for some crazy shit. So
Yes.
Right.
I feel like I'm on the side of the spectrum where I don't beat my kids. Like I just feel like, you know, I'm from the South. I won't lie. We used to get our ass beat, you know, whatever. I just feel like as I got older, it became a point to where I realized that's kind of like a form of slavery that's still kind of like in our DNA. They got whipped when they didn't do something right. And they just kind of stayed with the older generation and it kind of got passed on. So I just kind of got to that point where I just felt like, yeah, we're not going to do that. So we got to figure something else out.
I just talk to my child like she's a human. Like, I think that's another thing. A lot of us grew up with parents not wanting to know who we are as people. We were just their children. So it's like, you know, we all heard it. I'm not one of your little friends, right? And it's like when we get older, it's almost like we have no connections with our parents outside of them being our parents, and then we get to see them outside of being a parent and see them as a human being, but we don't have that connection that they want. But it's like it's too late now. But right, like
we can't be friends now.
Right. You ain't one of my little friends, so what
we ain't friends no more.
But with my daughter, it's basically like what I tell her is, you know, sometimes I'm human, I get frustrated, but one thing about it is I always come to her with a level of respect, because at the end of the day, like, she's my child, but she's a human. So if I come to her, I'm like, okay, Genesis, it's time to wake up and go to school. I'll say it nice. You know, I'm goofy. So I'm goofy with it. I'm making songs and stuff in the morning. And so if she's not up yet, I'll come back and I'm like, okay, now I done told you. Now, if I start yelling, I'll be wrong. And then she gets it. And so I've never really had to like raise my voice at my daughter. I never really had to like, you know, scream and holler like my parents did, because I approach my child like she's a human and we have that understanding. So if that's gentle parenting, cool. But I tell her no all the time. Okay. That's something I do, because if it don't make sense, I ain't go, you know. So
I have had to do gentle parenting, especially with my youngest. And I think y'all can relate if you have children on the spectrum. They don't understand. Well, some kids do not understand certain commands or certain directions that a normal child would understand. So you have to, and I think when Tasha said it, I got it, and I was like chills, because with my first child, he was easy, he was fine, and I didn't really know what patience was until I had Austin. And it's like, okay, he doesn't understand the same things that Nate did, so I have to talk to him a little bit more. I have to nurture him a little bit more. I have to teach him a little bit more for him to get it. So a lot, and what's annoying is a lot of people do not understand, and they think that gentle parenting is letting your child get away with things or letting them do whatever they want. But at the end of the day, we have to step outside of that and say, hey, if our parents talk to us like this, you know, would we feel better, or would we be able to understand things a little bit, you know, better? Or are we just supposed to be just walking around and not opening up our mouths or asking questions and finding out things on our own the hard way? So I've had to step inside that gentle parenting box, and I'm glad I did.
It's just a matter of like, do you want to be the same way you were treated, or do you want to be better? You gotta be better.
Yep.
Each generation is still supposed to get better. It's supposed not to get worse. So.
That's one thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to have my kids feeling the same way I did when I was growing up. You know, I wasn't being heard, and I, you know, as a grown ass woman, I still have those issues. And I don't want them to have that. You know, I always think about, you know, my daughter. Like, I wish I was like her when I was her age. You know, she's 10 now, and she's just fearless. She says what's on her mind respectfully. You know what I mean? We have conversations, we talk. Same with my son. You know, we have conversation stuff, but I couldn't do that with, you know, my mom, you know, old school, you know, born in Alabama, moved up here, you know what I'm saying? So they grew up on the old school, and she still think the old school ways. You know, Mom, I'm grown, I'm married, got my own kids, family, you know what I'm saying? So I just didn't want the same thing to repeat itself with my kids.
I have young ones. So my experience, very different at the moment. My youngest is going to be 2 in 2 weeks, and my oldest is 4. And so I have 2. They are very they're very vocal. My 4-year-old is in the kind of like experimentation of like the talk back phase, where, you know, she tests me. She definitely tests definitely tests my patience. Definitely tests but when she's sweet, she's as sweet as can be, but they balance each other out because they're so opposite. Like my youngest is like the chill one. She's like the chill, mellow, like can't be bothered one. And then my older one is like the hyperactive one, like always got to be doing something. Very smart, very bright, but extremely manipulative and all of the things. So, but you know, it definitely is a learning experience. Nobody's a perfect parent. I would definitely say I'm on like the softer side of a parent, but I am the more firm parent. Between those that get bullied within our home, I am not one.
We know it's probably daddy. Okay.
It's usually actually grandma, not my mom.
Oh no, grandmas are the worst. When I say grandmas are the worst,
and that's where like some of our challenges come from, because you know, grandma lives close by, so she gets to spend a lot of time with them, but she also kind of has a hard time sometimes where drawing like that kind of like I'm not your friend line. So going back to like the earlier part of the conversation, we were talking about like not being your kid's friend. I am very, you know, I am respectful to my kids, but I am not my kid's friend. I was not raised as my mother's friend, but we are best friends now. So it can happen. It just depends on, you know, I think how that relationship kind of develops over time. But in the beginning, yes, definitely not friends. But they, you know, they're understanding and they listen to me and they respect, you know, my authority most of the time. But it is a learning experience. And as far as those with children on the spectrum, I certainly commend you, ladies, because I worked with autistic kids, very low functioning autistic kids, for a few months. So I know just a piece of that pie, and what comes along with that. And very young kids, most of them were like age 2 and 3, early diagnosed. So yes, I certainly that's a whole other experience that some parents don't quite understand or get. So I certainly get that. And yes, you do have your own set of challenges. But yes, just not even having a child on the spectrum is challenging sometimes. Sometimes they just don't want to listen. And I just like, I know you know, like
I know. The thing is, they know.
No,
you know that I know that you know that I know.
I know. Like, looking at them, like it's just so funny because I know we've all had like the same feelings. Like some days, like I'll be like looking at like the news and how a parent just like wailed on their child, and some people so judgmental, but I'm like,
they are.
when you had a really long day and this kid is just like being extra difficult for no reason, and you just literally had the longest, most exhausting day, it takes a lot. Like sometimes it just takes a moment of like literally just stepping away and just like calming down and taking a step back, because if you're reactive does not work with a child.
It just makes them fear
reactive
you.
does not work with them. They, even if they don't like fear you per se, it will sometimes just cause them to act worse, or they will start talking to you the way they see you talk to them, and it becomes
they repeat.
Oh yeah,
they are little parrots. They repeat.
Yeah.
Oh, you
school,
I'll
and
wait
then
till y'all get them teenagers.
from school too.
Listen, my daughter.
Wait till you get them teenagers.
My daughter be ear hustling like hell. I'm like, where'd you hear that? You had to hear that while I was screaming.
Mine picks up her worst behaviors from school. Like she'll say certain things, and I'll look at her and I'll be like, "No, you didn't hear nobody here say that. So where did you get that from?"
They definitely gonna pick up on it from them other kids.
Yeah,
that's one thing we tried to do with our kids as they got older. Like a lot of people don't want to have the tough conversations with their kids, but I'm like, if you don't talk to them kids, they gonna learn at school, because them other kids is like leagues ahead of them. So you might as well go have the tough conversations, go have the sex conversation, and you know all that. Especially if you got girls, because y'all already know how they go. But even with the boys, we always told our boys like, this right here is not. That's not what that's unacceptable. If somebody does this or says this or whatever, whether they're female or male, or you trust them or whatever, that's not gonna fly. You need to let us know. And then we were always kind of, if you're too embarrassed to talk to us, then if you have like an adult or somebody you trust, you can talk to them too. But we always try to leave like an open line of communication with our kids, especially since they're older, because they're in this generation where everything is online. So it's like you never know who's talking to your kids. We had where my 16-year-old was like talking to somebody on VR that was like trying to bring up sexual conversations all the time. We was like, oh no, we're gonna have to have a whole conversation about this. So it's just, and like we're accepting of our kids, whether they feel like they like this or like that or whatever. It's never gonna be you should feel this way or whatever. But this shouldn't be happening. Like no adult should be guiding you to like a sexual conversation when y'all online. Like,
right.
So
not
like,
at all.
So yeah, baby, we had to shut that down because we're not gonna do that over here.
Right. And so like for in the line of the question for me, I will say that being like my decisions are similar like to a lot of you guys have said like the things that you grew up with, you didn't want to have that happen. And like Pinky said, like how some of the things that happened in my childhood have stuck with me till now. And it's like whenever I interact with my daughter, when I'm not at a 10, because they will get you. My daughter's 4. And they will get you there. They will get you there. They do not care about your feelings. Okay.
No, they don't.
Unless you cry, that's what she's like. Oh, mommy, you're sad. Oh, mommy, just breathe. Just breathe. She like say the same thing they say to her.
Yeah.
But like they repeat the same things. You tell them the calm down tools. Like you remember them now, but when I wanted you to calm down, you don't remember none of this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, like being in those situations where I'm not at a 10, when I interact with her, I'm always thinking about how this is probably affecting her in the future, because I'm like, I do talk to her like a human. I do try to talk to her like she is a person. And then I do have that moments, because I am West Indian, where I'm just like, you know what? Hush for a second, please. No talking right now. It's quiet time now. Like,
right.
No talking right now.
Yeah.
And like being a gentler parent, I say I do gentler parenting, because we don't beat her. We have never slapped her or smacked. I think the most we do is like flick her hand, right? Like stop something, like flick, move your hand. Okay. But like I can't say I've never ever raised my voice. That would be a lie. Because she's 4 and they said that it would be done by 3 and they lied.
Yeah, they lied, girl.
Yeah.
Not terrible 2s. It's just when they're 2. And then
terrible 17s, terrible.
It just kind of like evolves.
I'm my mama's terrible 33.
It just evolves into something else.
Right.
It's not tantrums anymore. Now it's talking back.
Right.
It's not talking back. It's a combination of both.
Yeah, that's the thing.
My oldest
That's
likes
the
to
thing
talk out loud. I'd be like, baby, that's gonna get you messed up every time. You gonna have to stop doing that. Cause like, and we just got through having a conversation that didn't go the way you wanted, and you saying something, I'll be like, what you saying? You know what I'm saying?
Hello?
Excuse me.
Hello?
Excuse me. He'll be like, oh, I'm talking about something else. I was like, you
that's a lie. Okay,
my
daughter does that too. My daughter does that ish too right now. Like, and mind you, now, like, I will say I don't have to yell as much, and it's not like I yell at her all the time, but it has evolved to like the look. When I give her the look, she knows like she's got to stop or calm down or what have you. But like sometimes she'll do something and I'll look at her and she's like, "Oh, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the teddy bear."
Oh
I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
they try that too.
Okay.
They try that too.
With the teddy bear that ain't in the room right now. That's what you're talking to? Okay. Okay, I got you. But yeah, I do constantly think of like the stuff that I went through, like even now being a people pleaser. I do not want my daughter to be a people pleaser. I don't want her like, yes, I want you to be respectful of other people's feelings, but I don't want you to put yourself beneath everyone else. Because then when you approach, especially as a female, right? When you enter a space, I don't want her to be demure. I don't want her to be like quiet and no, speak your truth and respectfully. She's not going to be like rude or anything like that. But like she's sweet. She's like a Sour Patch Kid. She can be sour, sweet, and then you know. But like be respectful, but state your boundaries. Like tell people no when you don't want to be kissed or hugged. Even if she's for me, if I'm like, I'll ask her now. Like, hey, before I didn't ask her because I mean I'm gonna kiss you. I birthed you. Okay, let me kiss you. But like now I'll ask her. I'll be like, baby, can I give you a kiss? Can I give you a hug? Because I want her to feel comfortable. If she doesn't want a hug, she'll be like, no, mommy. I'm like, okay. And then I guess she does at times kind of feel a little bad. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Aww. And then sometimes what she'll do is she'll let me hug her and then she'll be like, all right, that's enough. And I'm like, okay. And I try to respect her boundaries. I try to give her that space so that way she can set that, because that's stuff that wasn't set for me. The aspect, the rules that me and my husband both teach, because he's from Brooklyn. So the family mindset of like, oh, they're family. We don't do that. Just because being family is not the end all be all. Like you could do anything you want just because you're family. No. And even when my mom and my sister come, there are boundaries that I have to set with them because my mom is from the island, from Jamaica. Okay. And my sister, she lives with her. So she follows that same suit. And they are respectful of what I'm telling them, like how I want to raise my daughter.
That's awesome.
But like it does get it's a learning process. It's a learning curve, mind you, because like there are moments, especially starting off with breastfeeding, because that wasn't a norm for my mom or my sister. So the aspect of understanding that I want to breastfeed her and my body can provide it. Like I had to fight my family to advocate for myself. And I want my daughter to be able to advocate for herself as well, you know? So I do try not like fight, like physical fight. It was just argument. You know, like, no, this is what we're doing, you know? But like, I do try to stay on I call it gentler parenting. I'm not doing the not saying no because she's 4 and they are terrorists. Okay.
They are terrorists. People that say humans are innately good.
No, they're not.
They are not.
They are not.
They're not.
The boundaries things, that was something that like I think was hard for me with my son that's autistic because they don't like to be touched sometimes. So that's kind of like hard for me as a mom, because if he's like hurting or in pain, you know, like the first thing you want to do for your child is like console them or make sure there's okay. And sometimes he don't want to be touched. Like, no, like get off of me. Like he doesn't say that, but you know, it's just kind of like I might be like, oh, you know, like give me a hug, and he might push me off, like don't, you know, because they have like sensory overload sometimes, so they don't want to be like bothered. So that was like hard for me. Like I would cry. I used to be like so upset because he wouldn't know what to do, because he'd be like, well, he's upset and you're upset, and I'm just like in the middle. He'd be like, I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, I'll be fine. That's just something that I had to get used to, because I have 2 other boys where like I'm a boy mom, so I don't like seeing boys cry. That's like a weakness for me watching anime, whatever. If boys cry, I'm crying with them because I'm like, please. And so I raised my other two boys a certain way. So, when I got to the third, I'm like, I got this. And it was like, nope. Everything was like flipped.
Everything changed.
Because we thought for sure we were having a girl. Everything about my pregnancy, everything was just like so different. And it was just one of those situations where he doesn't want to be touched. Like if he has like a toothache, you can't go in and be like, oh, let me give you some orange gel. It's screaming like, don't touch me. He doesn't like haircuts. Like it's a lot. It's like a lot that comes. It's a lot. I don't know if it's the noise from the clippers, like being close to their ears. Because like he'll cry. Like we have to cut his hair. Like we have to do it. But it's like, it's a fight. Like it's literally a fight. So he gets like in-home therapy, and there's like some of the things we have to work on is like letting him kind of hold the clippers or have the clippers so he could kind of get like used to it. But like when his hair's gone, he's kind of like crying and rubbing it like, no, like it's not there. It feels different.
They don't like it.
It's just, I don't know. It's just like a lot. And with the autism, you have to take every day the way it comes. Because
every day is different.
And their appetite.
Oh my baby chicken nuggets.
God.
My son is Doritos and Cheerios. So like cereal and Doritos. And I'm like, you have to have food. Like you have to like eat regular food. Like, when he was little, he used to eat like all the healthy baby stuff. I guess he just like got played out on it. Like, no, y'all gave me that shit for like so many.
I have done my
He's like,
time.
I'm done, right? He's like, I'm
no
done.
more.
So it's like, it's hard. Like it's just
we had to do feeding therapy with Austin, and I really underestimated like what this process was, because he would constantly get constipated because his diet consists of chicken nuggets, French fries. Like he wouldn't touch anything else.
That processed stuff.
And the therapist explained to me, she was like, this is going to be rough. She said, but I promise you, we're not being mean to him. We want him to get nutrients and get the food that he needs. And I'm like, that was the worst experience. Like to see your baby not want to eat yogurt like other kids or not. I think it was just like reality set in, like, oh my God, he doesn't like, what child does not like this? And then you have to see
it's the way it smell and look to them sometimes too. Like if it feels a certain way or if it smells a certain way,
he doesn't like it.
And then sometimes they can like stuff for like 6 months, and then after that they don't want it no more.
It will change.
They'll hate it, and I'm just like, bro, like the way we have to switch up our grocery list is like crazy. But what I had to do, my son likes fruit, so since I know he won't eat like other stuff that's good for him, I had to start doing smoothies and stuff like that. So I could do smoothies and fruit, and I'm like, okay, that helps, And then it's just a matter of trying to introduce new stuff and just see what he'll eat, but. Baby, that food costs though, because we in the inflation period. Buying stuff that he won't eat, like it's just sitting there because it's like you bought it for him, but then he may not want it. So it's like,
that's all of us.
Hello? All of us. Especially when you're like, oh, it's because my daughter, she's a picky eater, and she used to like, she's gotten better about it now. And this is the petty side of her. I'll get into that in a second. But like a lot of the times what she would do is just store the food in her mouth. Like she would chew it and just store it in her mouth. Yes. And not chew it and swallow it. She would just sit there with it in her mouth. And so veggies is still a hard thing right now. And we're just like, well, when it happens, it happens.
I don't know too many kids that just love vegetables anyway, but
right. It's a rare thing. And I had a friend that was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter, she likes broccoli and sweet potato." I'm like, I'm happy for you. I don't even like
mine,
that. Mine does not.
You're like, shut up.
No, I'm like, I wish I could. She says it so proudly. And she's not trying to gloat, but inside, I'm like, man, I'm like looking at my daughter. Why can't you like broccoli?
Right.
Don't start the comparison.
Right. She's 4.
She'll
get there.
She'll get there. But the petty part of her, right? So side note, her cousins, so I have 2 sisters. One of them has kids and they were down here for their spring break and they stayed with us for like a week. One of them is on the spectrum. So I was hitting up Phenom. I was like, I need tips, okay? Because there was a moment too. There was like another moment where there was like, he had a meltdown and everything. And I'm like, Phenom, I need help. I need tips.
Them meltdowns are serious. Like, my son like drove me to tears, like because it's like you can't get mad. You can't get mad that they're mad. You have to like let them be, and that was hard for me. Like just letting your child like calm down on their own,
And
because
you
it can
can't
take
fix it.
a long time. But like you can't,
Mhm.
girl, that shit had me fucked up.
That's what she did.
Like,
One
it's
of the
just-
tips she gave me was to like maybe put him in his own place. And so
Mhm.
I had him in my daughter's room to try to like calm down, because we have a cat. Mind you, they have 2 cats at their house, but I
It
guess
wasn't
my
his
sister was
cat.
saying that, right, that they used to mess with the cat, and I guess the cat like hissed at them and swiped at them. So
Oh.
ever since then, he thinks that cats will eat him. So I had to keep
Mhm.
telling him that the cat, and my cat is like a puppy. Like he just
Oh.
loves to get rubbed. He just wants to be touched endlessly.
Yeah.
So he's
Mhm.
so super friendly. He'll walk up to people, and every time he's walking up to my nephew, like he's like, the cat's gonna eat me, and he'd have like a full freak out. Full freak out each time. And then he had a meltdown, and I was like I mind you, there's a whole bunch of stuff with that situation where I was like I don't know. I was like, I asked my mom, when you come up here, can you bring like, oh, I don't know if I can say that, cocaine, like, can you bring something, please? Like,
Right.
you had something strong for me. I need something.
Mhm.
I don't know where to get this stuff up here.
Right.
If you can bring me some, just bring me some.
That's valid.
Like,
I
that.
think a lot of
And I
people
had a
do
piece
not.
of what y'all go through, so you know. If I
I
have a
don't-
supplier, I'll hit you up. I'll let you know. I ain't got it. No.
What did she do that was petty? What was her petty side?
So her petty thing is, because they were there, and they don't really like to eat healthier foods. They eat a lot of processed foods and stuff. And I don't give her a lot of juice. I give her mostly water. If she does have anything sweet, it's normally 1 sweet a day. It's not like a whole bunch of sweets. And so she has this thing where, since they're like whining about the food that's in front of them, that's when she's like, she ate all, she cleaned her plates. This mindset of like, oh, they're all whining about the food. She's like, I ate my food, mommy. Like, right. And one of the times I made, because I'll make tacos, right? And to sneak veggies in, I'll like take some mixed veggies and mix that into the taco meat when I make it. But I do it early in the process, so you can't really taste it. But at least she's getting her veggies. And she don't like veggies. She'll sit there, she sees it, it's done. She's like, store it in her mouth if she puts it in there, or just stares at it. But this day, when they're like, it's got veggies in it, I don't like veggies. She's like, I like veggies. So I turn to my husband. I tried it.
More often.
Who is she?
That's
So
funny.
she cleaned her plate that week. It was a great
She's
week.
a mastermind. I like her.
Yeah, they're so like funny. Like mine, she like weaponizes like going to the bathroom, eating dinner. Like I have to start like with her, like I have to bargain with my oldest, because if you don't, like she'll take like her essential pieces of life and like use them against you. Like, for example,
I feel
like
like
when
the
it's time to
pain.
go to
I feel
bed,
it.
you'll be like, okay, it's time to go to bed. And then like she'll purposely like hold like her bowel until it's time to go to bed, that she could be like, all right, I gotta go poop now. And then you'd be like, and she literally has to go. Like, she's not lying. Like, she'll literally hold it until, so like you either have to start the routine a little bit earlier so she thinks it's bedtime, so that's already done, like by the time like it's time to go to bed. Or like she'll do this thing where like she'll purposely not eat her dinner and say like she doesn't want it or she's full, or until like it's time to go to bed. And then
she wants to eat.
I'm hungry.
Yep, I'm hungry. Oh, I wonder why. Because you starved yourself until bedtime.
This sounds very familiar. Or like, you know, like, okay, she'll have times where she'll sit there and not eat for a long time. And we're like, okay, meal times can be like an hour, can be like an hour and a half with her. Yeah, 2 hours. And like I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, you know what? You've taken 3 bites. It's bedtime now. It's like, oh, but mommy, I'm not done finishing my food. Mind you, 5 minutes ago, she's like, I'm tired of eating. I'm so tired of eating. I can't eat. I'm so tired. I'm sleepy. I'm like, all right, let's get you to bed. Oh, I still have food, mommy. I'm not done eating.
I literally told, but then like, see me, like I learned to navigate her. So it's like I said, either you start the routine early, get her in the bed, the bathroom early. I don't let her have like any toys while she's sitting on the toilet, like because she'll want to play with stuff like while she's on the toilet. I'd be like, nope, you do your business, you get done, and then if you get back in your crib, then you can get the toy back. And then like stuff like, well, not her crib, but her toddler bed or whatever. And then like like I already told like her grandmother tomorrow, I'm like, I don't want to see her with a snack, a juice. Dinner is eaten first. If she asks you for anything, say after you eat your mac and cheese. I don't care if she throws a tantrum. I don't care if she screams. I don't care if she cries. Like, I don't want to see her with anything until after her dinner is eaten.
My son just now starting to use words. He like Starburst. He's saying shit like that. Starburst, cereal, I'm Pop Tarts. I'm like, how long? I'm like, this is what we do. This is what we he gonna make sure you hear that. And then because I do like orders, like for I have a drawer, as y'all can see, that has he knows like,
so
yeah, you think they don't know, but they know.
They know.
See everything.
All it takes is them to see the journey one time. Oh, that's it. I seen her come back down from something up there. Okay, they got stuff up there. I gotta figure out how to get up there.
I left the room for like 10 minutes last Friday. And then like when I came back down, I saw that my son had like corn pops, like eating corn pops on the table. So I'm like, oh, Trey must have gave him some cereal, you know, like whatever. So Trey was asleep. And then like I looked in the kitchen while the step ladder, he had got the step ladder. Got on the step ladder to get the cereal off the freezer, open the box, fixed it just enough, like so you wouldn't know he just got like all of them. And got like just enough and put them down, put the bag back on the table. I was like, wait a minute.
Him and Austin was separated at birth, I swear, because I said everything
they gonna be Ocean's 11. I'm telling you. I'm like, how?
Everything is.
I'm like, now how you can do this but not the stuff you're supposed to? Like, how? Like, wait, girl.
Goodness, kids are funny. So we'll hop into the next question. Really quick. Lovely conversation. This is by Teresa. Shout out to Teresa. Are any of y'all's kids into gaming, streaming, or anything of that nature? Q&A.
Yes, Lord.
Baby, yeah, my 4-year-old is.
I got boys.
He plays the Switch and everything.
All of them. They all in
over my streams.
My son is addicted to his tablet. Like
that
it's
too.
An all day situation. Like I have to like be like, no, you cannot have this all day. Like it's literally, if you see him, it's tablet in one hand, his pillow in the other. All day.
That sounds cute.
I'm like, no, but it's not. But I'm like, but it's not.
I know.
Austin is convinced he is a YouTuber. So I'll hear him in the room and he's like, okay, Aussie Pants crew, we're going to do we're going to play this today. And he's like, what did I hear him say the other day? He said, let's get these likes up. And I said, who is talking to? Like, mommy,
That's a professional.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
He's a mess.
That's hilarious.
I love that. Who are you talking
to? I'm surprised that like most kids don't like the stuff that their parents do because they feel like it's corny or whatever.
Yes.
My oldest son will like hound me. Where your Patreon videos at? I'll be like, wait a minute. He come at me like people that be on the stream like, have you reacted to so and so yet? Because I'm gonna need that video. I'll be like, hold on.
That is great. I mean, that sucks for you because you got to deal with that comments and downstairs. But
now he wants to. It's kind of like something he wants to explore after he graduates. So like
that's awesome.
So we're trying to help him do that because in our house we're not gonna make you waste money on college.
I mean, there's money in esports, so
that's happening now. Yeah.
Yep.
Especially in the HBCU. Leash, go ahead.
Oh,
that's your expertise. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm not in the East. I just did a tour.
Be modest.
Come on, y'all. Okay. I don't be talking about myself that much.
LeeshCapeesh did a HBCU esports tour.
Yes,
yes, honey.
Was it earlier this year or was it last year?
It was last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
Okay. And you hit up how many schools? What schools did you go to?
I guess I'm under contract, so I'm gonna say the technical answer.
Stay within contract. Okay.
Well, where did we go? We went to Howard. We went to Winston-Salem.
Nice.
Not the same
damn. I forgot. It was so many. Y'all, it was too many tequila shots ago. I ain't gonna sit up here and hold y'all. And we went to Hampton. Damn. We went somewhere in South Carolina. I forgot the college. I didn't even go to South Carolina. And then we went to Spelman and all that. Yeah.
Okay,
we was out there because we ended in Atlanta. So we went to Spelman. It was pretty cool. You know, there's definitely money in esports. We really got to see like for real one esports team. And that was over in Winston's. I keep wanting to say Winston's Salem, but
That's
Winston
normal.
Salem. And it was really cool. We got to meet actually we got to meet a NASCAR driver who got into doing NASCAR from playing video games.
Wow.
So I thought that was
that's
pretty
cool.
you know, they said video games will never take you places. They lied. You know?
They taking us everywhere.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Listen. But yeah, like with my daughter, I just basically with her, she plays video games because I play video games, but she don't like my content. You know, put on some Corey Kenshin and Berlizzi. She's glued.
Yeah, they are.
So you just not gonna watch me. All right, what does Corey have that I don't?
Right.
Now you put there.
I'm like, wait a minute,
That
I'm your
sounds about
mom.
right.
Hurt
But
your
then
soul.
But then again, it's like my content is made. It's not made for children. You know, Corey don't be like cussing and all that. So she's like, Mom, you talk about inappropriate things. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Oh,
You're correct. So I am a little inappropriate.
that's funny.
So, yeah.
That is.
But she's definitely a gamer, addicted to Roblox. Addicted. I'm like, you better not be on there talking to no grown people.
Look, I probably was in there with her.
Luckily, mine has not. She doesn't know that yet. She doesn't know that. She knows gaming.
Prepare.
She has
When
her.
she
She has her
does.
Switch. She loves Mario games. She loves Mario Kart. She loves playing games on her tablet. She does have an iPad, so she'll play a lot of those games on the iPad. But she loves Animal Crossing. She loves like anything on the Switch, and she can watch as well. Like she'll be like, because my husband, he's a gamer, I'm a gamer, so he'll be playing games on his PlayStation, or sometimes when he turns it on, she's like, "Oh, Daddy, are you gonna play a game for me to see today?" Or if I put on my Switch, she's like, "Right, Mommy, are you gonna play Animal Crossing? Are you gonna play something for me to see today?" So she likes to see it, and she can watch the streams, and she'll be like, "Mommy, that's you," you know. So
I got boys, so when I lose, it's like that looks like a skill issue. That's the kind of shit I get when I'm playing the game, and I'm like frustrated. They be like, "Are you mad?" That seems like a skill issue. I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, why are you even in here? I'm like, what are we doing? But I'm like, okay. That's the kind of motivation I get.
Hard.
Skill issues.
Yeah. So there'll be times where, because sometimes going to bed, like, you know, one of the reasons I was late today was because of her, trying to get her to bed, because I had to do the whole trying to wind her down for bed. But sometimes I'll let her sit on the bed in here while I'm streaming, and she'll like, when my mom is her favorite person in the world above everyone else. Okay, she loves her grandmother, but when her grandma came into town and I was streaming, she's like, "Mommy, can I sit on your bed and watch you stream?" Like she wanted to still spend time in here with me and watch me stream. Mind you, if I'm playing a game, she wants to pipe in. So that's part of the problem. She's like, "Mommy, no, don't do that. Don't." She's already backseat gaming. I'm like, no, I can't. You gotta be quiet. Be quiet. Yeah. Yeah. Ash, what about you? We've been like, Ash, what you there? Ash.
I ain't like cut in, you know, but
no, cut in, please.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah. Two of my sons, they love playing video games, especially the little one. He's always trying to peek his head around, see what I'm doing, especially when I'm streaming. And my older son, they do in school, they do like a platform called Scratch. So they build little games on there. So he does that. He loves to do that. He says he wants to be a YouTuber when he get older. So you know, I try to give him little things that I may know or what I don't know. I try to find out what help him with that. My daughter, she's totally different. That's my autistic baby. She's just be in her own little world. She's either on her phone or eating. Like I never had a problem with her eating. It's like she eats everything. I mean everything.
That's good.
Like,
That's good.
One time I wanted to try sushi, and she was like, "Oh, I want to eat that too." So we tried it, right?
No.
So I was like, "Did you like it?" She cleared the plate.
Awesome.
I was
Good
surprised.
girl.
I was so surprised. I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's good.
Mommy only like a couple of them. I can't eat all the other stuff. Like the plain raw fish right over the rice. I can't eat that. I can eat the little rolls, but yeah, it's been quite a journey these last almost 13 years of being a mom. But that 7-year-old, like y'all were talking about being petty, that one. That one. I remember one day they were getting ready for school, and my daughter went and helped him find some socks to wear. So he decides he's gonna hide her uniform.
Oh my goodness.
Made them late for school.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, I can't. I just was looking and I'm like, are you serious right now?
Sometimes I have that moment, like, where did you?
Yeah.
How did this happen? Where did you come from?
Like what side of the family is that from?
Right.
Because it might not be my side.
It wasn't me. I didn't do that. It wasn't my side.
I don't even know. Because when I say petty, I mean it's ridiculous. I can't. And like them two every day. It's just like this.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
I mean, the next thing you know, they laying in the bed watching the movie. Then they
together.
They at it again.
At least they take breaks. Right. They take breaks.
What's that movie with them old men that be like arguing all? Is it Grumpy Old Men? Is that the name of them? I feel like those are my teenagers. Like all day, every day, and then like, but don't let nobody try to square up. Oh, it's all right. I'm like,
that's siblings.
I'm like, wait a minute.
That's siblings.
That's good.
They argue about everything. My middle one, I feel like he would be like a chef because he's the one that likes to try all the bougie shit with like food and stuff like that. So like, you know, we try to get them into cooking. So like they have a day of the week to cook. To learn how to cook, because you know I don't need nobody growing my daughter's cooking for my means. Like they like, you know, they know how to cook. They got to know how to do stuff. Child, with my oldest cook, he's not like he's learning. Like so, there's sometimes he make mistakes. Baby, don't let the middle one come down. Nah, you should have did this. You should have poached the egg. You should have. I was like, what? I don't even know how to poach an egg. Like, excuse me. Like he knows all that stuff, and I'd be like, bro, he can't cook like you could. Just eat the food and like do all that shit on your day. Cause like, what are we doing? Poach the egg. That's the kind of shit he be on. Like, if my oldest son ate ramen, you know how they have that challenge where like somebody makes food and then the other person makes it better. That's them. Like if my oldest son made noodles, my middle son is gonna go make noodles. He's gonna drop an egg in it while it's cooking. He gonna add like all this other stuff. I'll be like, bro, and then go talk shit like you should have did this to your food. This what you should be eating like this. I be like, bro,
that's a mastermind. Yeah,
that is.
My middle son is all trade. Like all that shit y'all see when it comes. That's my middle son. I be like, bro, I can't.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So Laylith asks, how you'll manage, I guess, how do we manage time between streaming and time for our children?
For me, I stream when they at school, so I don't be interrupted. They can get their lesson on. I can do what I need to do real quick, play my little games or whatever. Go ahead, shut the stream down when it's time. You know, I make sure I put an hour in between because you just never know what time nowadays.
You need to decompress.
Yeah. So I go and make sure I get my parking spot too, because I got to stay in front of the school just in case they pop off. You know what I'm saying? I'm right there. Pick them up, and then it's, you know, bring them home and we hang out and chill. If I'm not working that night, you know, hang out and just talk about the day. What you doing in school? You got homework?
Yeah, I ain't trying to talk about that.
Every question.
It's all right. Everything
good. For me, it's we essentially just work around their schedule. So while they're in school, we do our reaction videos And then we stream when they go to bed. That's why we typically stream so late and we're up so late. Actually, I have to record some stuff when I'm done with this. So yeah, for us, it's usually just when they go to bed is when we stream. And during the day while they're at school is when we record.
Okay. Who want to go next?
Well, I stream late. I'm the late night streamer because my daughter, well, she be up, like my daughter be up, but one thing about it is like I can count on her to wake up for school. Sometimes she wakes up by herself. Thank the Lord. I wouldn't listen. I was terrible. I was terrible. I don't know. Like that's why I was scared to have a second child because my child is just so. I'm not gonna say she's perfect because she might flip on me, you know, because she still got time to flip. But like when I was a child, I was so terrible in the mornings. You hear me? My mom, that's why she used to yell at me. But I mean, now I have a complex. So that's why I don't yell at my daughter. Okay. But anyway, like she's really cool with like waking herself up and she'll be up with me sometimes. Sometimes she'll be, you know, ear hustling. But normally I stream at night and then I try to make sure at least like every other weekend we have like a weekend because she loves to go over her grandparents' house. And then sometimes I have to, because, you know, it's easy for me to send her over there because they're not going to say no. I got them to that point where it's just like, oh, does she wants to come over? Yeah. But I'm like, no.
I have a question. Did you pull those TikToks where they're like, it's like, oh, I asked my mom if she wants to watch the grandchild and she said no, and then they just ring the doorbell and drive off while the kid's right there and the grandparents open the door.
Not like now, I don't even have to do all that. Like back when I lived with them, and like maybe like the first couple of years that I lived in this apartment. Well, actually, when I had my old job, because they used to have to watch her a lot. Thankfully, I do this full time, so now I have more time to be with her. But yeah, they used to be like, no, take her. Oh, we have stuff to do. Now they ain't got nothing to do. I'm like, where's all that stuff y'all got to do? When I be having her at my house, they be like, oh, you bringing the baby over? They still call her the baby. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I still call her the baby. You bringing the baby over? I'm like, no. It was like, but we haven't seen her in a week. I'm like, get out of here. Turn. You see it? My dad be rushing to go pick her up on Friday. I'm like, you ain't never. What is this?
They want to ruin your kids. They want to send them back spoiled as hell.
So spoiled.
My daughters are spoiled. They're rotten. So rotten.
There'll be times I look at my mom and I'm like, where was this when I was a kid? You know, like. Okay.
They so soft, man. It's like watching a completely different parent.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's like they're the parents that they could have been. Because you got to think, like,
the parents
they learn too.
Right. They do learn, and like
but
my parents
just ain't got the energy no more. They ain't got the energy no more.
And then a lot of the time, like, think about us and how we're learning. And, you know, like I'm in my 30s, right? I had my daughter in my 20s. My parents had my brother in their 20s. So it's just like they were learning and growing, you know.
As they were parenting.
They were parenting. So now that they're older, all of the lessons that they learned when they were raising us can be bestowed onto the grandkids. But then they're a little bit softer. So now when you're trying to be firm. Right, you're trying to be firm and assert your dominance as a parent.
Let the baby have it. I be like, Mama, chill.
Right. The boundaries, man. You gotta.
It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
I got an extra input.
It's almost like you kind of have to. Man. You have to parent your parents.
Yes.
You have to remind them, like, hey, I'm grown. This is my child. Right. Okay. Like, thank you for your help. But at the end of the day, if something happens, they're not calling you. They're calling me. So like I've gotten to so many arguments with my parents once I moved out on my own because they really thought they was going to, like, you know, G-check me. And I'm like, I'm grown. I'm grown.
I say with my chest.
Shit.
That's funny. There's a moment I felt like the church fans were about to come out. You know, like
yeah.
just like
I'd be looking at like the grandparents sometimes, like, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Watching my daughter bully the crap out of them sometimes.
So when my daughter was, because I mean, when they're young, she's 4 now, right? But when she was younger, you know, kids, they just hit. They don't. It's not like they're trying to be rude or beat up people. They just hit. But you have to teach them not to do that.
Right.
Thing you have to teach them not to do. And I remember, like, I was sitting on the not a love seat, but it was like my nursing chair. I still have it. It's comfy, so I can still keep it. And my mom was on the couch and she's holding my daughter, and my daughter was like maybe 2 or 3, and she full on like winds the hand, slaps her in the face, and then I hear the slap. Right, I look over because her hand was up last time I looked. Now her hand is down. Right? I'm like, did she slap you? And there's my mom. No. I'm like, you lying right now? So I turned to her and I was like,
her to get in trouble.
I was like, don't let her abuse you. I'm like, you can always ask for help, you know, like as if she's like, you know, this is a domestic violence situation. Like you just let her beat you in the face. And then I turned to my sister. I was like, where was this when we were kids? Like,
this was boxing her grandparent earlier. And she turned and looked at me and she was like, I'm calling the elderly abuse hotline on your kids.
Oh my goodness.
Don't send it my way. My mom just
tell her no.
like tell her not to do this. Like you can speak up for yourself, you know, like advocate for yourself.
My daughter's mouthy. And
oh yeah, girl, that's
my daughter's mouthy. She quick with it too. Like I tweeted, like my daughter said that I dress like a Pokemon trainer, right? And it like just I mean, she got me together. She got me together because I definitely was looking like a Pokemon trainer that day. But I was fly though. I was cute. I was like, oh, that's a compliment. I like that. But she knew that she got me. But it's crazy because she does the same thing to my parents. And my dad,
outfit, though. I have to see
I didn't take a picture. I should have took a picture. But apparently in her mind, I always dress like a Pokemon trainer. So I'm like
screaming.
Anywho, I go cry in a corner somewhere. But she does the same thing to my parents. And my dad was notorious for like, you don't talk back. Like he'd give you the he's one of the people you get the look. Kids stay where kids stay. And I'll be sitting her there watching her go back and forth with my dad. And I'm like, who is this person?
Right.
Like, what is this? Because if it was me, you would have yelled at me and told me to go to my room or get out your face. But you're literally letting her talk to you like this? Like, yeah. Grandparents are soft. I'll never be that soft, like ever. I'm gonna keep the same energy.
You saying that right now, but just give it a couple years. Give it 10, 20 years.
No,
they're gonna be like Grammy Leash.
You're like
Grammy Leash. Where you at, Grammy Leash?
I love it. Fall. It's pathetic. You look at
it. Have fallen.
I feel like when me and Trey become grandparents, like I'm gonna be the one that's probably harsh, and he's gonna be the soft one because it's like vice versa now. He's gonna be the one that's like, oh, they all right. Like you know how they just let them be. That's how
my husband plans to be like that because he wants her to feel the way he felt. He's like, you terrorize me now. I'm gonna spoil your child, give them back to you so that you know true terror. Like he's planning to do that for her later
that's
on.
why I appreciate my mom.
Wow.
Her parenting style, like, well, now is more aligned with mine. Like where I don't ever have to parent my mom, like to parent my kids. Like we're like here when it comes to like our parenting styles with the way she parents now. It's the other one that's soft. So that one is the one I usually have to parent her.
both of mine are soft. Both of mine are soft, and they're like both island because I'm Jamaican and he's Haitian. So you know, West Indians, they're like, hey, grab anything you can to beat type of people, but not to their grandchildren. Goodness, they're full hand slap in the face. And it's like, no, she didn't.
My mother-in-law is Jamaican, and that's how she is with with
They're gonna take the lick
my
for your
daughter.
child. Don't get ready to beat them. They're gonna jump in the way.
Right? Hello?
Don't
Hello?
you beat that child.
She reaches her limit sometimes though. Like my daughter knows how to push. Like she knows how to push the limit.
Habitual line steppers. That's what they are.
They
Habitual
are.
line
She
steppers.
knows she knows exactly how to push the limit until she can't push it no more. And
So
then
lang,
when
lang,
she
lang,
crosses
lang.
that
Oh,
line, it's like,
Lang, really quick. We want to shout out Mr. Brandon for the super chat. Appreciate you. Much love to you. Mr. Brandon says, as the son of a Black mom, I love to see y'all doing this. Happy upcoming Mother's Day to y'all. Peace, love, and prosperity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I know I'm not weird for doing this, but does anybody else tell their kids to not tell any of their friends or like the teachers the stuff that you do? Like I tell my daughter, like when you go to school, don't tell anybody I'm a content creator.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody, don't promote my channel. Tell them I'm a bartender or something. Like
not a bartender.
No, because I used to bartend. I used to bartend and work in as a server before this. So I'm like, just tell them not do that. So does anybody else do that, or am I tripping?
Mine are too young. They don't know yet.
I tried, but the jig was
feel
up.
like people that I used to know that because like Trey and I are from Mississippi, so like we stay in Houston now. So like most of the people that knew us from like back then don't know that we like do this unless they just happen to be on YouTube or come across our channel. Like every now and then that happens. But like I be trying to tell my kids like just because of how crazy the world is, and then I got teenagers, don't tell everybody. Like,
Yeah.
Like my oldest came home today, and I guess like he got his like graduation stuff or whatever, and brought it home. So I guess people were looking at him. They was like, "Oh, your parents rich." I was like, "We ain't fucking rich." Like,
right.
you know, just like don't even. But
They
you know, kids' mind work different. I'm like,
that.
no, boo. Like we work for this, and we still work. So like that ain't got. I don't know. Like, and it's not like we went like overboard with his graduation stuff. We just got like I got the same shit I got when I graduated. Like. But I don't know, you know, I know everybody's situation different, but I'm like, no, don't be telling them that we polar reactors. That's it. Like polar reactors. We ain't got nothing.
But some of their teachers know because some of their kids watch us.
Yeah.
Like some of their kids are older, and since we're like we react to a lot of anime and stuff too, and DC and Marvel and all that. A lot of their kids know,
and y'all be trending too. So
it's unavoidable. Like we go to like the gym, and almost
y'all, of course,
we
y'all
at the
famous.
gym. They be no, we're not. But we'll go to like the gym, and they'll be like, "Is this you?" And we'll be like, "Yeah," and they'll be like, "Oh, okay."
I found out because Austin's little friend, two little boys were like, "Do you play Roblox?" And I was like, "No." And then another little boy walked up and he was like, "Can you play such and such?" And I'm like, "Why are you asking me about these games?" So one day I'm standing there and Austin is like grabbing his teacher's phone and he's like, "Duh, female." I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Oh my goodness.
To follow me because I'm street. I'm like,
that's great and also not great. But he's like he's campaigning for you.
Yes.
Yeah, we can have these teachers. We'd be like, watch what your kids is watching because we are not kid-friendly content. You watch what your kids is watching.
I had to put one of my kids' little friends together one time. One of his little gaming friends, because like I was streaming and they came online. I don't know what they said, but I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't play with other people's children. I'm like, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get your mom in the chat before I hurt your feelings, because like I can't do that. And I told my son, don't have your friends pulling up in my chat because that's the quickest way for them to get embarrassed. I don't play with other
and get banned.
Like and he was banned after he was banned, but I'm just like my mouth is like quicker than my like brain sometimes when it comes to certain stuff that I see in the chat. And like before I know that there's somebody's child, you know, like I'm gonna respond to you like you're an adult, and then I have to realize that this is somebody's kid. So I'm be like, you know what? Like I'm gonna need you to get your mama for me. Like I'll say that to her. But like I ain't say that, but I'm like, because like my kids don't do that. Like my kids don't go to people's shit and cut up like that. Because I tell them like, don't do that. So like as a parent, your child shouldn't be in my stream cutting up because my stream ain't for nobody.
Oh yeah, our stream is not for the weary or the weak.
Right.
Our stream chat is out of pocket. So most people come to our stream chat to be what they can't be.
That's true, and that's why people be online. That's why trolls come in.
That's funny.
We allow it. Our
I
stream
remember that
chat
day
is
I was messing
painful.
with Christine. She was like, "This gotta be Trey." I was like, "It's not."
Oh yeah, that was why because he came with the Married to the Real. Yeah, it was the first time I was like, "Oh, this is Trey." She's like, "No, it's Tasha." I was like, "Tasha." I was surprised. But no, like so just like Sheera, my daughter, she's too young, and she doesn't go to school or anything. She stays home with us. So like when she gets older, I am gonna tell her not to tell people what we do, and
but I will tell them that
because the world is crazy.
I told my mama, I'd be like, don't tell them I do YouTube.
They publicly
Can you tell my dad that, please?
I'm like, if you have your actual legal first and last name and you comment on my stuff, like my sister, she doesn't know this, and if she watches the stream, she's gonna find out. One of my sisters, she has her legal first, because she has a like not creator, but like she plays music and stuff. So she has her Instagram for that, right? With a fake last name or whatnot. But she also has her real one with her legal first and last name. And one of the times she commented on one of my posts on Instagram and said, "Oh, hey sis," or "I love that sis," or something like that. So it restricted her. So now no one can see her comments.
Right.
And when she, like, it goes straight to DMs, because I'm like, I don't want anybody, because one of my brother's friends came in the stream one time, full said his legal name, like, "Oh, you're blank's sister." And I was like, who is this coming in the stream with the information? So I told my brother, and he's like
that one time too, because
I was like, tell your friends don't come in my stream. No. Not with the legal. Why would you be like, "Oh, you're in front of all these people"? Like, that's not
like my kids go to public school. I'm like, you don't need to know our last name. You don't need to know how old.
Not at all.
People real ignorant, and it's scary sometimes when you think about the fact that like everybody's watching you. But you don't know who, like, you could pull up somebody that you had a whole argument with online, could like live down the street from you and see you at the mailbox and be like,
I have two stories. One is more on the warning side, or one of the other reasons why I do have a friend that has kids that, and they are a well-known creator, and their kids were, telling people who their parent was. But the kids at the school didn't believe them. They'd be like, "Oh no, you're lying. That's not who you are." And they were bullying the kids because they felt like the kids were lying. So I'm like, that's something I would never want to, mind you. My daughter, she's a little scrappy, so I don't want to have to.
We won't have no problems.
They're gonna
be calling Christine, "Yo, baby, let somebody know."
My daughter, she's a little scrappy, so I do feel like I don't want to have to go to the school because of a situation like that, and I never want anyone to, even if she could handle the situation, I never want anyone to approach her like that, right? So from someone else's experience, I'm like, I don't want them to know, because people are crazy. I don't want anybody to come at her any type of way, being like, "Oh, you lying, ABC, XYZ," because I'm not gonna try to prove it to them, unless I have to sit down with their parents, let them know, like, no, we don't do that here.
And then people gonna think you rich, because one thing about it, kids conflate like numbers with money. Like, so if they see you have all these YouTube subscribers, in their mind, they're like, "Oh, she's rich," and we don't know what crazy cousin robs in their family. And next thing you know, you're getting burglarized. See, this is stuff I be thinking about.
I try to teach my kids, don't let everybody know where you stay. Because like my oldest son has the habit. Sometimes I think he on the spectrum too, just a little bit. But he has the habit of, like, if he's in a party, I have to go do, like, he has to explain to his friends, like,
what he got to do.
Like, hold up, I heard that one. I was like, skirt. I was like, why are you telling them your whole agenda for the rest of the day? Oh, my mom's about to take us to the mall that's over here on this side of town, and we'll be back at 4 o'clock, and I'll be back. I'll be like, you don't need to tell people
that's
that.
A very
like you act like you married and explain it to your wife that you ain't coming back home tonight. I'm like, we not doing that. Like, they don't need to know that. All you need to tell people is that I gotta go. I'll be back later. That's literally the end of the conversation. Like, I have to like watch my oldest. I'll be like, and you want to be a streamer? I'm like, sir, we're gonna have to sit down and have a whole bunch of conversations. What you can and can't say.
We don't even have like too many of their friends over, and it freaked me out because I remember one of my son's friends. came in and he was like looking at my equipment and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, your mama gonna get y'all out the hood," and I'm like, "You can't come over here no more. Get out."
Oh my god!
That was my oldest at the door. My oldest heard that whole conversation.
Ain't no way. No way.
I said,
oh my
nope.
goodness.
That's a messed up comment. So when she does get older, I am gonna be my mother in the aspect. I'm not gonna let her sleep at nobody's house. But if she wants to have a sleepover with friends, they may come over to our house type of thing. But I'm not gonna make it a constant thing, because if one of the kids says one of that, oh, your mom go get you out the hey, don't come into my office. You better not look or you better not.
Oh, you're not gonna let her sleep over, Christine.
Your baby can. Your baby can. Okay,
you can't come over and have sleepover.
I gotta talk to you about something a little. Speaking about that, so remind me later. I gotta talk to you.
Oh God! All right.
About the thing that's the possible June thing that's happening, and maybe including a couple more people.
Okay, I got
you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so so no, your daughter will be fine because.
No, I know.
She lives the life.
I would have to know the parent. I would.
Right.
It's definitely not you're just gonna go over such and such.
Yeah, you gotta. And even if I knew the parent, I don't know your kid. If I don't know your kids like that too, it's just
that.
I have to have a relationship how I know Christine. I know Christine, and
that
I
way
know
if something pop off, I know where to find you and how to.
Exactly. I feel like our parents used to meet the other parents before, because I remember my
mother said no, and that was it.
Really? My dad.
I was allowed. I was allowed, but my parents had they were close with my friends' parents, so it was like a family type thing.
Now parents just drop their kids off.
I can't.
Parents don't want to meet up no more. They don't want to meet up.
Really?
Yes.
So ain't no way I'm letting my child.
Parents don't be wanting them, I guess, because it's like you don't know these people. You don't want to make no new friends, and it's just like it kind of sucks because it's like then your children ain't never gonna have friends because parents don't want to meet up. Yep. So it's just like, because I ain't sending my child just anywhere with nobody who I don't know. So I remember my dad met with my childhood's best friend mom, and they sat and they talked or whatever. And then since then, I could go over there. She can come over my house. And people are really weary when you had dads. But one thing about it is that my dad's solid. He's a square from Delaware. He is not the pervy uncle. Thank the Lord.
Right. I love that. He's a square from Delaware.
He is a square. But the people who have the pervy daddies, I feel sorry for y'all. The ones who can't keep their eyes to themselves.
Yeah.
I hope that's not a common thing.
Well, you gotta think we all got somebody got the pervy uncle. The pervy uncle.
Y'all know this.
That sleep in the basement.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of my friends, she's a defense attorney, and 9 times out of 10, it's always the uncle or the dad. Unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Girl, you see this freak nigga?
You know what made me think of a serrated knife and gutting someone from peen to scalp?
Huh? Christine, what did you just say?
I said what she said made me think of a serrated knife and gutting someone from peen to scalp. I
mean, I agree, but damn.
I know they say God don't put you in situations you can't handle. I mean, even for those that don't believe in God, but they say the higher power doesn't put people in, whether you or your own higher power or whatever. They say they don't put you in situations that you can't handle. That's the situation I cannot handle.
If I could handle it, I still don't.
I'll go straight to jail. Is anybody?
Do not pass go.
Gladly smile on my mug.
The way I would be so calculated, I wouldn't get caught.
Well, excuse me.
Murder. Also, sometimes
God damn.
You won't know.
It's on the parents though, because I feel like you can kind of know who you get vibes from if you really give a fuck about that. Because my kids, I don't like my stepdaddy. My kids will never be around him. I don't care what age they are.
And pay attention to your children. If they don't want to hug Uncle
Don't force them.
for a reason.
No, and then I don't like people that turn it on the kid either. Oh, she's fast. Or they shouldn't have been doing whatever. No, that person is an adult. So why is the adult not be, why are they not held accountable for what happened?
And the thing is, it's
they should not be protected.
Even if the little girl, because I remember being young and dating somebody older that I wasn't supposed to be dating. And even if I was okay, let's do this.
They should have been like, no.
I wasn't a consenting adult, and plus
Exactly.
I didn't know no better. I just thought this shit was like fun.
You flexing. You thought you was flexing.
I'm like, hey, but you're getting taken advantage of, and the stuff that the older man would put me through was just like, he wouldn't do that to a woman his age. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
why they do that.
Exactly. So I'm like, even if there's no such thing as a fast little girl, it's just little girls that don't know no better. That's it. So. Nah,
some of them do know better, but it's still on the dude. Like it's still on whoever, whatever the adult party is on.
Exactly.
Ain't no excuse for that.
Children can't consent. Period.
But girl, I spend time with my kids. Look, I'm like,
oh yeah, the question, right? The question, how you I'm just gonna say ditto to what Sheera and Pinky said, like around their schedule. Around I stream now at 10, and it fluctuates. I used to stream at 7 because it was something I was able to do. My mother-in-law was here to help out and stuff, but now it is just me and hubby. So I stream late nights and sometimes
you
a
be
week.
Late.
Yeah, sometimes we in the morning.
I was like, girl, when I say you playing Star Wars, and I'm like, Christine, still awake.
Yeah, I mean, like late streaming. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
The one thing I try to do, because our schedules are kind of like all over the place. Because my son that's autistic, he has like in-home therapy every day, like Monday through Friday. When my older kids are at school, like me and Trey normally kind of like record. We're not morning people at all. So we could be recording more, but we're not. We record during the day, and then like if I feel like I find time like after dinner or something like that. Since I do have kids that are like old enough to cook and stuff like that, like if it's their day, I don't have to cook. All I have to do is eat. Like I might stream, like early, but I try to like stream like around their bedtime so that I know they're getting ready for bed. Like that's why you kept seeing my door crack because they're like, oh, good night. Then my oldest like ear hustling, telling me I'm offended. I'm like, but I try to do that. But the one thing I do try to do every month, at least once a month, I try to do this more. But I try to take my boys out with me. Just so, because I do want them to be those gentlemen that are like, oh, let me open the door, let me do whatever. And it's not like those moms that like consider their sons their boyfriends, because that should be wild as fuck.
Yes,
but,
indeed.
It's still like a level of respect. Like, you open the door for like a woman, or you do this. Trey will take them to show them how to pump gas, or it's just like stuff like that, just trying to teach them like life skills. But I try to make sure we do something like once a month, whether we go out to eat or go to a movie or family game night or something like that. Like I try to make sure we do something, because my oldest, you would think the oldest is like leave me the fuck alone, but he's the one that's like, can we do this? Can we do that? Like he's the
one. That's sweet. That's sweet.
So he likes to do that kind of stuff. My middle son be like, just call me when y'all ready, because I ain't really trying to do that. My middle son, he ain't trying to do, like, he'll do it, but you can tell he be like, I could be doing something else, but I'm gonna go ahead and hang out with y'all.
No,
that's hilarious.
Youngest,
he still appreciates it though.
My youngest, he don't care. He don't care. Like once he get that tablet in his hands, it don't matter. Just give me some snacks and let me be on my tablet, and y'all can do whatever y'all want. I don't care if y'all in the room or out. That's just it's just how it is.
So we'll do the next question. This is from Destiny. Destiny says, what's your favorite part of being mothers?
I would say for me, seeing their different personalities, how their personalities form, watching them, how fast time flies. When they were born.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
To present. So that's always a good thing for me. It's just like, wow.
Time be flying, baby, because I just remember, like, I wish I could show y'all like a picture of my kids, like when COVID hit. Like my mom and my grandma came to visit, and we got them home like just before like the lockdown for COVID. And then by like the next year, my kids were taller than me. And I was just like, y'all were shorter than me last year. And then like, it's like, what happened? Like, what? So I don't know, girl. It's just time really does fly. But I do like, I like the part of being a mom where I get to do not necessarily things better than like they were for me, but just, you learn. It's like when you learn better, you do better. So I like to be able to be like, oh, you know, like you could do this or you could do that. Like these aren't the opportunities that I necessarily had like growing up, but because of what we're doing now, like we can give y'all those opportunities and we can help y'all. Because you know, like coming where I'm from, you either had the parents where once you're 18, you grown, you got to get out, or if you were ready to get out because you know what I'm saying, just because of your situations. Because me and Trey kind of just like ran away from home because we were in the country, we were tired of it. You know, you tired of seeing the same people, everybody getting shot up on the weekend. It was just like, nah, we gotta go. So with them, it's more so we were just like, well, we don't want to throw y'all out there to the wolves because things are so different now. So you know, just try to do your best here. We'll try to guide y'all the best we can. We're not just gonna throw y'all to the wolves though. You know, it's just those kind of things to where I want y'all to stay and be comfortable, learn about credit, learn the shit that they're not teaching y'all in school. Because they really not teaching y'all nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's for life. They just teaching y'all stuff to work for somebody else. So, you know, that kind of thing.
That's true.
I would say kind of in I'm sorry, I'll just say this really quick. Kind of like piggybacking off of what you just said in regards to like wanting to be better than it, you know, making your children's situations better than they were for you. My favorite part of parenting is like doing those things and then seeing her exhibit the lessons of those things. Like, for example, when I was talking about when I'm crying or if she sees me cry for whatever reason I might be crying, she'll come up and she'll do the same things I'd say to her. Okay, breathe. All right, calm down. Take a breath, relax. You know, she's like doing those things, or even like we teach her things at home, like learning stuff, you know, like reading and writing and whatnot. But seeing her like exhibit some of the ways that I taught her in regards to reading, like sounding out, you know, and coming up with my own methods and watching her figure these things out and using the tools that me and my husband have taught her. That's my favorite part. That's my, okay, I am doing this right.
Yeah.
And that's what,
Yeah, I understand that.
I would say for me is when they come to me and they're excited about something new. Like with my daughter, mommy, look. And she's telling me about like, cause she's into, you know, drawing and designing and stuff like that. So she's really into like anime style art. And she'll come in here and she'll show me her pictures and the colors and the shades and stuff. I do stick figures, so to me it's just it's awesome, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just for her to explain and show me her, you know, her styles and her drawings, like I said, and stuff like that, is just, it lights me up. And like with my son, he's into cars now because it's hot outside, so everybody's bringing out their, you know, Corvettes or Teslas and stuff. And he said, "Oh, mom, look at that!" With those boys. And he explaining something to me, and just to hear him, you know, articulate and say, I'm like, "Oh, my baby." I was raised in Detroit public school, so with them, it's like they get to private school, and I'm like, "Oh, yes."
Yep. This vocabulary is astounding.
That's what I'm saying. Because I know as country as I am, when my son be talking, I be like, you must have been watching certain shows on TV that had you talking like this, because I know you ain't funny. I was like, okay.
Oh my goodness.
I would say my favorite part about being a mom is it creates like a different type of motivation for me in life. Also, setting up the responsible things like insurance and whatnot if something happens to me, and just knowing that my kids will be like set and taken care of. I think also just like kind of see them come into themselves as like their own like people, like they're developing personalities. Like it's crazy. Like sometimes we'll go away for a week and we'll come back and my daughter's saying like 50 new words that she wasn't saying like the prior week. And just like watching the development and just like how bright they are, and just watching like their little sisterly bond is also like one of my favorite parts of being a mom. And like just
awesome
because I didn't have a sister, I had a brother. So just watching like them, you know, have that sisterly bond and watching it grow and develop, and them just kind of have each other's back is like one of my favorite parts. And then just like the excitement, like she was saying, like, you know, watching them get excited about things and like seeing the world through their eyes. And it's just a leaf to you, but they make it like the most like exciting thing ever. And just, I don't know. And I think sometimes like, even when they act up, it can be a headache. But sometimes it's also hilarious. So sometimes it's also like one of my favorite parts about being a parent is just watching them be little firecrackers and knowing that they're not going to be pushovers and they have a voice. And they're very particular and they'll tell you exactly what they do or do not want. My daughters do not play that. So I think, you know, it's just and just, you know, watching them just grow up in a different type of lifestyle. Not that we were like super poor per se, but we definitely didn't have a lot of money growing up. We were definitely middle class. Watching them grow up, us being able to kind of just provide for them in any way that they need certain things like them. The financial aspect has been my favorite part, is like being a mom too, and just them knowing that like we provide for them and like that it comes from us. Like they know, like she didn't get ice cream at school one day and it's because I forgot to pay the fee for the month, and she's like, "Mommy, you didn't pay. I didn't get ice cream." I didn't even know she understood that's how that works.
Right.
She just knew. So I like that she sees us like being hardworking, and that, you know, and they in turn like, you know, get those benefits, the bargaining, you know, like the bartering, and you have to do this to get this, like, even though it can be tiring, like just trying to like figure out how to be one step ahead of your kids is like all like a part of like my favorite parts of being a parent, just like kind of figuring it out as you go, and just like not being able to stay mad at them as much as they get on your nerves. It's just the weirdest love ever. It's like they wear your nerves.
It's an abusive relationship.
You miss them. It's like a trauma bond, you know? It's like a trauma bond. And like we go out of town and we get a break, and then we're like, oh, we miss our baby.
We miss them, yeah.
It's like you miss the abuse.
What can I do without the abuse, you know?
Yeah. The favorite part of being a mom is the abuse.
The abuse.
It is. It's funny. No, but like one of the things you said made me think of something. Because like in January was my husband's birthday, and he was like, he wants to do something special. And he's normally not one to want anything special, but he was like, let's do something special. Let's go to Disney. And so I rented not rented. Well, is it rented? You just booked reservation. I reserved the reservation at the Hyatt Regency in Orlando. And we were in one room and we were like, oh, we want to extend our stay. And they had a deal where we could get a even better room for a longer stay. And I was like, yes, let's do it. So they said a double level, which I was like, they have that? That's a thing, you know, a double level where there was stairs to the, and it was like, it had a balcony. It was amazing. Beautiful.
Like the family room for like more like.
Yeah, there was a living room. Like my mom got to sleep on the couch. We were like, we got the long room. Like, Mom, you want to come to Orlando? And she drove up and then spent the weekend. And it was just the most, that was like a true vacation. It was wonderful. And I had that moment where I was like, excited about what I was, and I think I even cried about it, like how I was excited about what I was able to provide my daughter, which is something that I never got. And I remember being in the elevator. I think I was just grabbing something from downstairs, and then I was coming up the elevator, and I guess there was some convention happening also at the hotel, because they have those convention halls that they had like some type of corporate convention or something like that. And there was a bunch of these tall, older white men were in here, and I'm this short black little round lady that walked into the elevator.
Black little round lady, Lord.
We know what's round. That's not what I heard.
I'm a flat backosaurus. Okay,
I'm screaming.
So When they asked me what floor, and I was like, oh, 17th floor, and they were like, oh, that's the penthouse. And they looked at me, and they're like, how is it? I'm like, oh, it's nice. And then I just had that moment that's like this proud, like I just smiled at them, but internally I was like, this extreme. That was the first like prideful moment I've had for my career, like this amazing moment. I was like, yeah, I'm happy that I was able to do that for her, and even though she doesn't appreciate it.
For my older kids, like going like a big family trip, like I want to take them somewhere where they can like experience flying or go overseas or something like, like I just want to do that for them. We haven't gotten to that stage yet. We're getting there, but I gotta figure out with my autistic son how we gonna travel, baby, because that's a whole nother situation, because he's that autistic kid that's not afraid of strangers, so that like scares me. So it's like, he could just run up to anybody and be cool, and I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. And then he likes water, so he's like, I'll jump, like that's why like you can't have like it's like a lot. So I'm trying to like figure it out, because it would have to be something to where I know we're good on safety as far as him, because the last thing you want to do is have a vacation and then there's an accident or something like that.
Yeah,
so that's the part we're trying to like figure out.
That got to be the worst, because you ain't home, you somewhere you don't know.
That's what I'm like. It's worse when you by yourself. So just imagine when you with your kids.
Oh
and
my
shit.
God!
It's gonna be horrible, but we'll get there though. And baby, I was thinking about getting like you were talking about with the double levels. I saw like somewhere in Mexico they had that where you get like it's like 3 levels, but you get it all to yourself, and it's not like really expensive, and it has the different floors. But I was like, maybe the stuff going on in Mexico, I don't know. like I'm like, I don't know.
Hello, hello. I don't know. It's like, and so there's a trip thing that I'm trying to work out, and I was talking with some people about the trip, and I wanted to go to like, and y'all don't have to out yourselves in the chat. Okay. I ain't gonna tell y'all, but I was like, hey, let's go to like, Japan or, like Europe or something. And they're like, no, we want to stay over on this side. And then I'm not interested. A lot of Mexico stuff. And then I just remembered, like today I remembered about the where it was like a family trip, right? And friends trip that they were taking to Mexico, and only 2 people came back. The rest of them died. I was like,
it's the BBL lady.
Yeah.
Oh, you're thinking of the BBL lady? No, I'm thinking there was
another one.
There was another one
where a woman had invited like a bunch of friends, Black people, just trying to live their best life. Went to Mexico, turned down one aisle. A truck came up behind them and made them get out of the car, gunned a bunch of them down. Took them, tortured them, and only 2 people came back, and it was a group of people. Yeah.
We went to Mexico last year. There was me and Trey's like first cruise. Like last summer, we went on a cruise, but I guess like it's different because you have like tour guides and stuff. Like you kind of know. I think that's like a part of it too. Instead of like trying to save money and like do everything yourself.
Okay. And what parts you go to? Because like Cozumel is nice and safe.
Yeah, that's where we ended up.
I've been to Cozumel a few times.
And we walked.
I don't know where they went. I gotta see.
We did like the tour where you walk through like the shopping district, and we were fine. It was hot as hell, but like we walked, and it was just like, I guess they're used to that because it's like a tourist spot.
Right.
It wasn't like we were somewhere we didn't know, and like nobody else goes there, and blah blah blah. Like
I feel like that's wherever you go, whether it's Mexico, whether it's anywhere, like you kind of.
If you go somewhere and you don't know, and I just be like looking like us, you just got to be careful anyway. Cause
like Jamaica, there's Jamaica, depending on where you go, like it's not safe. You have to. It's like anywhere you go, you have to.
I just feel like we were dark enough. They thought we were them, so it didn't matter when we was in Jamaica. Like we went like on our like I said, we got married in Jamaica, and then we stayed at a resort. We were at Sandals, I want to say, and they kind of like big on don't leave the resort.
They for safety.
We kind of have, and we went to like the casino and to the
well, if you have on like nothing like you just can't have on like jewelry or anything.
I'm not doing that. No,
your phones out and all that stuff.
I had a regular ass. Like,
you will get robbed.
No, that's the reason my mom won't go back there and I'm like, I've never been and I want to go, but my mom doesn't want to go because of crime. Like she was saying, I think 2 years ago,
his mom goes like every
one
year.
of my uncles like got robbed in their house in their sleep. Like somebody came up in their house, gunpoint robbed them, and so they moved back. Like it's
I feel like if y'all go, you need to just go to a resort though. Like just go, like maybe not necessarily just stay like in town where they normally stay, maybe just do like a resort or something, and it'll be better. I will say when we did Sandals though, like they handled everything. Like everything was cool. Everything was inclusive. Baby, they had a bar on every corner. That's why I came back pregnant.
My type
like
of place.
it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Sandals, you said, right?
Right.
Sandals, yeah.
My type
and
of
then
place.
we ended up at an all adult resort.
Wait, what else do I need to put? Because literally a bunch of pictures of moccasins came up.
I stayed in Ocho Rios.
Sandals Resort.
Ocho Rios is nice.
Sandals Ocho Rios.
I'm dead.
But it's an all adult resort. So if you want kids, you may have to find another one if you want your kids.
Oh, I want my baby girl to come with. Well,
so they have
they
go to Montego Bay. That's where
some
of our family goes is Montego Bay. They also have very nice family resorts in Montego.
I ain't gonna lie, that was a different kind of feeling with no children nowhere. It was like
I get you because I mean, like Sheera said, like when
you watch out for the pineapple people.
You want a break.
We travel both ways. We travel with and without our kids.
What do you mean?
Christine, don't worry about it.
It's a different experience.
Don't worry about it, Christine.
What does that mean?
The pineapple people, that's the swingers. Them the swingers, boo. Is it an upside down pineapple? Like you have to put it upside down? Okay, yeah, like so that was like
hold on. What do you so you're saying that they swing, but like what is the is that a sign if they're eating the pineapple upside down? Like stay away from
if you have a pineapple on your door that's upside down. This happened on a cruise ship, so I don't know about like at a resort. But I remember last year after we got back from our cruise, there was like a 40-person fight on a cruise ship because of like swinging. It was because of like if you look it up, I'm so serious. It was because of like the whole swinging thing because like I guess people were swinging that wasn't supposed to be swinging and whatever. But it was all that's when the pineapple thing came out. And
that's when
your
phone
like,
need to be
if you
charged.
had a pineapple on your door that was upside down, that meant you were open to doing whatever you could do. All you have to Google is like cruise ships fighting like pineapple. Like use those terms and you're like
doing that right after
you will see the article. But like it was a whole, they had to like it was a whole knockdown drag out fight with like 30 to 40 people over swinging. I was like, that's crazy.
I didn't know that many people.
There's rules. Somebody broke the rules.
Yeah.
In that little hallway.
Somebody stepped into the whole group.
I guess that's just a better way for people to not approach people that's not into that stuff. You know, like I guess if you have it, then you don't necessarily make somebody uncomfortable. Please.
I'm like, do you eat your pineapples upside down?
Now.
That's wild.
We should have never told Christine.
Right. She's gonna be Googling this and be hilarious. She's gonna be making pineapple jokes.
Someone's eating a pineapple. I'll be like, babe, don't even look that way, okay? Look at the horizon over here, okay? If I girl with the pineapple and they think he down, but he ain't, okay? I'm just tell y'all right now, he ain't down. Okay. Nope. So this leads to
your pineapple ass.
I would be like, he don't even like pineapples. He'd be like, babe, I do eat pineapple. No, you don't. Hush your mouth.
Right. Not today.
Not today. Not for these 3 days. Not today. I better not even see you drink a pineapple juice.
The lady gonna tap you, Christine. She's gonna be like, you eat pineapples?
Right.
I don't even know how to spell the word. Okay. Have a nice day, man. All right.
She's gonna be like, you ain't gotta know how to spell it to eat it.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I'm sorry. Let me.
Well. Well.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
If I was Caucasian, I'd be red as an apple. Oh. Goodness gracious.
So Sebastian asked that, which leads because of all this pineapple and so whatnot. How was the pregnancy?
Horrible.
I hated it. See, one thing I always talk about this pregnancy for me was just like everything. Like it felt like I wasn't in my body. No matter how much lotion I put on, I was always ashy. My nose spread across my face. I went up 4 shoe sizes. I'm already a Bigfoot heifer. All right, I wear a size 10 normally. So I went up 4 shoe sizes. I couldn't wear no shoes. Okay, my hair was all dry. Oh, it's like, I don't know. It's like my daughter took all the beauty away from me. Everything that I found beautiful about myself, she just sucked it all up. And
Well,
she did give me a little booty. I did have a little ass. Yeah, I did have a little ass when I was pregnant, but she took that with her when she came out. So, but yeah, I couldn't. I had an epidural. I did not want to do natural, but I didn't want to get cut open. So I was just like, drug me up. But it's crazy because it still hurt. It's just, you don't feel like the sharp pains, I guess, but you still feel a shit ton of pressure. So yeah,
I will never forget the contractions. I still remember.
I'll never forget them either.
Listen,
and I wanted a natural birth so bad.
I did too.
I felt so robbed because both of my pregnancies were bad. I had to be on bed rest for like 7-8 months at a time. And then they were like, okay, we're going to do a C-section. I'm like, but I wanted to push because I felt like, that's what mothers do. You push the baby out.
Right. I wanted to experience that too. I had 3 C-sections, baby.
Yeah, my first one was pretty bad. My legs and ankles swelled up.
Mine too.
It was so bad. Now my middle one, that was easy. Like that was easy. And my last one, I was overdue with him, and he turned around.
No, he did. Had the nerve to turn around.
He turned all the way around. She was like, Miss Summers.
It's not good when they say that.
Yeah.
I was like,
ooh, Lord.
Don't tell me.
The PTSD.
Like, right. I just like
my pregnancies were really good. My labors were not. My first baby, easy peasy as far as the whole pregnancy. And then she didn't want to come out. I carried both of my kids 41 weeks. And my first one, I had to be induced because she still didn't want to come out. And then I stalled during labor. So she ended up being an emergency C-section. And then my second one, I tried a VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean, for those men in the chat that probably don't know what that stands for. But same thing. I did actually go into natural labor with her on the 41st week. But I also stalled out. I got a little bit further with her, but stalled with her also. And she didn't have to be an emergency C-section, but she did end up having to be a C-section.
Kudos.
I would say a similar thing. Like the pregnancy was great. Like I've been for a long time. I've had problems sleeping, but during pregnancy, I just fall asleep at the drop of the hat. Like I just lay down on the couch. I just be out, So I loved that. And I loved the pregnancy pillow, like cuddling with the pillow.
That thing helped out a lot.
I love the Boppy. Shout out to Boppy. I'm not pregnant right now, but man, if I was, I would do ads with y'all, bro, because that Boppy was just amazing. There was that, and then I don't know if you guys had. How do I say this? So when we were talking about pineappling, but not the actual pineappling, but like what people do when they're pineappling. That was just like at a 10 because I was just during the last few months, I was just ready all the time. So that was just happening a lot. But then the last month, the worst thing.
That's real.
The last month though, I was taking a shower and I noticed my tummy was kind of like itching. So I was like scratching it a little bit, just like you normally do or what have you. And then all of a sudden the next day, most of my body was itching and then it flared and I was like, what is going on? It turned out I had a pregnancy rash that happens to 1 out of 200 women. And because the doctor was like, because I'm short and I'm littler, my tummy is growing faster than my skin can like create the skin for the baby. So it was happening so fast that I started a pregnancy rash, and the only cure is delivery. That's the only cure. I was itching, and then mind you, it flared to my whole entire body. Like
it was on my stomach.
It went my back, my butt, my legs,
and
my
you
thighs.
have to deal with that until you
have the baby.
they're like, oh, you can try to use things to appease the pain. But I remember one time specifically just standing there and crying because my whole body was
It's
just
really bad.
beyond control. And like I used Eucerin, I used like, mind you, all at one time, Eucerin, Vaseline,
Steroid
not
cream.
Benadryl, but I think cortisone, one of those ones that you can safely use or whatever during pregnancy. I was using that. I had like 4 layers of creams and stuff that I was putting on my body to try to appease the pain. And the only cure was delivery. Then, of course, my daughter also was late. And mind you, they were like, okay, they're like, okay, we're gonna have to schedule you to come in and we're gonna have to induce. And literally the day I left that doctor's office, when they were like, okay, we're gonna induce you in 2 days, I went home and then my water broke. And then I rushed to the hospital to go deliver. And then she things were seemed to go well for a little bit. And by the time we were like hour 10, they were like, okay, something's happening. Her heartbeat kept dropping. Like it would be good and then it would drop to like really, really low level. And then they realized that the cord was wrapped around her neck. So we had to do an emergency C-section. Mind you, I'm like crying and freaking out because I too wanted to do a natural. I was like, I want to be all natural, no pills, no nothing, no epidural, no nothing. And then they were like, listen, you either then that's prior to the situation, but when I was in it, they were like, hey, we can either give you an epidural and have you awake during this emergency C-section, or we could put you to sleep. And then you risk not being awake when your baby comes out to see her. So you would have to see her when you eventually wake up. So I was like, I'll do the epidural. They did it. I had moved, so they had to pull it and do it again. So I had to get twice. So
God.
Girl,
I'm having
I was still as Khabib when they did both of my episodes. I was not getting that itch twice. Plus, I had them back labor pains. I had the back ones.
Yeah, the contractions are unforgettable. As
all
I'm
in my
saying
back.
them now, my body is in memory right now.
like
girl, you got me over here. I'm in PTSD right now. I'm like, please, I don't even want to go.
Yeah, mine were all in my back. That back, it literally felt like somebody had a hammer and was just trying to crack my back open.
Please.
And okay, we're in
I'll never forget that.
Mind you, I gave birth in 2018, and people have been giving birth since the beginning of time. Why do we not have a better way for them to check how dilated you are versus sticking their whole entire arm in your vagina?
I hate that.
Come on.
I hate that.
I'm telling you,
it was hella painful. It was like equal to the contractions.
Yeah.
Well,
knuckled man sticking his arm in my. I'm like, this.
As a person who had an epidural, it was just whoop, whoop, in and out of that thing. I didn't feel that. Goddamn nothing. Just like, okay, I'm ready.
But it was all worth it. Guess what? It was all worth it in the end. Because y'all are all hearing this conversation in the chat right now. Like, no, thank you. But most of us obviously did it more than one time.
So listen, it was.
They say you forget. Like you don't forget per se, but like you're just like after they're here, it's like if you end up wanting another one, it doesn't stop you from having another.
I feel like I had the weirdest shit happen to me having kids, so I don't need no more. I have 3, and I feel like each one was like a different experience. Mind you, we're from like Mississippi when I had my first 2 kids, so that's like a whole different situation itself because they're not up to date on nothing. So my first kid, I had him a month early. They didn't even give me the option to like try to still go in labor and do whatever. I just remember going in like doing like tests like during my last like couple weeks I had left, and they were like something didn't look good, so they wanted to go ahead and like have me do like a C-section. And then when I did the C-section, they didn't even like have the option to do the epidural. It was just like, we putting you to sleep and we're gonna do it, blah blah. He was still like, he came out like feet first. I want to say like when they pulled him out, he wasn't even like turned around yet. And then the weirdest thing happened to me after I had my first kid. Like if y'all, I know like some of y'all don't know me, but I have like scars on my chest. Like I got like keloid skin like right here, but they didn't happen to me until after I had my first kid. So like somebody was like, oh, maybe the hospital did something when they put you to sleep, because you know, like I was fine until like after I gave birth. It's something that happened like maybe like a month or 2 after he was born. So I still haven't gotten to like that. But y'all, when I tell y'all I cried so much in my first pregnancy because my voice is like heavier because I guess I had boys, you know, like the testosterone sometimes will like make your voice heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, so I'll never forget like one of our friends called to talk to Trey. And then I was like, oh, let me get in there. It was like, Trey, why you playing on the phone? I was like, I am not Trey. Like I cried so hard and he felt so bad because he was like, I'm so sorry because I really thought like you were him. It was horrible. So like,
no.
And then because I ended up getting pregnant like back to back, like it didn't help because the testosterone like stayed because I had two boys. So my voice to me is still heavier than it was like before I ever had kids. So like I went through that with him, but like I had a C-section, like it was fine. Like I feel like I took that kind of like a champ, like walking around the same day, got my staples removed before I left the hospital, blah blah blah. Second one, he came way earlier than was expected because I think I was due for February. He came in December.
Oh wow!
The funniest thing was like my water actually broke with him because I was like, you know how you think you're having like the Braxton Hicks contractions or whatever like that. Trey was in the army then. He just happened to be home visiting for the holidays. He was like, it just worked out because he was at home or whatever. But still, like of course he fucking playing PlayStation and I'm like having labor pain. I'm like, can you take me to the hospital because I'm like this is not like stopping. And so like he took me and then he was like, well let me just in case you know like when I got there they was like, we may keep you overnight just to kind of see what's going on. So he was like, well, let me go home and get you some stuff and then I'll come back. While when he was gone, like I went to the restroom. Y'all, it was so embarrassing because I went to the restroom. I come out and like I'm in the door of the restroom and I feel like something run down my leg. I was like, nah, no, I just used the bathroom. Hold up. You know, I'm like, hold on, like what's going on?
Oh, dear.
Girl, I looked down and like my water had started to break. It wasn't like a lot, you know, it was just like a little bit. Baby, the lady that was like mopping the floor, like the janitor, whatever, we both like looked at each other and she like looked down and she looked back up. The way she ran to like the nurse's station, be like, girl, let me get you somebody.
Oh my god!
So funny because she was like scared. But like, yeah, my water like partially broke. And then, you know, of course, when your water starts to break, if they can't like stop it, you have to go ahead.
Yeah.
So I had to have like the C-section the next morning. Baby, I meant to tell you, I thought I died the first time I gave birth because I've never been like in a situation where I needed to be in the hospital or nothing. And then you know how you were saying like if you would have had to get put to sleep, I wouldn't see the baby until like I woke up. So you know, like after I'm coming to, I just see like white lights and stuff. I was like, mumbling. I was like mumbling to myself when I was coming to. I was like, Lord, did I die? I was like, where's my child? Like, and it was so funny because all I could do was hear like a sniggle from the side, and the nurse was like, girl.
They always laugh at you, okay?
They like, she was sniggering a little bit because I thought I was dead, I swear to God. And the lady was laughing. She was like, girl. She was like, you're fine and your baby's fine. She was like, we're going to take you to your room now that you like I was like so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed.
And you feel like drunk. Like when you wake up from anesthesia, you feel like so heavy and like drunk and you're trying to talk and you can't talk well. And the nurses laugh at you.
I cursed the nurse out because she didn't know how to put in a catheter. Like when I had to get the catheter, that hurts. And then like she was like the head nurse, so you know, like it was like a little black nurse trying to help her. And she didn't really want to take the lady help, and she was missing. I was like, if you don't get your motherfucking ass out of my room, and let this lady do it, because like I'm already like hooked up to all this shit and it hurt, and then you over here messing up my catheter. No, ma'am, get out, get out. I was like, get out.
I can't stand them things.
Luckily, it was after the epidural they put that in there.
Number 3 was the one. No, they did mine before. I told y'all that Mississippi. That was like the backwoods of pregnancy. Like that.
They wanted
like,
you to They wanted you to suck because that's messed up.
But then like my third one is the one that messed me up, y'all. That was the one. That was the emergency C-section where I had to get the epidural. And we were kind of that one. I went into like a depression behind because he had to stay in NICU. He was born like early December and he had to stay in NICU. And then we didn't know like if he was gonna be home for Christmas. Like we didn't know. It was just like it was a lot. I think I lost like 50 pounds from the time like I had him until like he came home because I was just like depressed. I'm like, I'm at home, my child's not here with me. And then I had like gestational diabetes each pregnancy. So it was hard for me to breastfeed. And you know, they were like, oh, you know, like if you could breastfeed, they may help him get better. You know, like I felt like a failure because I'm like, I couldn't do this for my child. It's my child, I can't even do this. So it was like a lot that went on like my last pregnancy. And that was the one I was like, no, I can't do this no more. I was like, I think that's it. Like, we do want a little girl, but I'm just like, I don't feel like physically I could go through that.
I couldn't even. I could.
Yeah, one of our family members just tried for they're having their fourth girl. So I don't know if you want.
That's what I told you. I was like, I can't have a football team trying to get one cheerleader. I can't do it.
I wanted a lot of, but like I remember, I had this picture in my mind that I was going to be that football mom driving up at practice playing Wu-Tang Clan. And that's just how, like, that's what I thought. But I was like, no, I cannot do this. Like, I couldn't. My pregnancies were hard. I had preeclampsia, placenta previa, that rash.
Yeah, that
my son was born. Well, Aussie was born early. It was just, I almost died having, like, I was actually bargaining with the doctors because they wanted to take him earlier than what they did. And I was like, just give me one more week, please. Because I'm looking at stuff and I'm seeing how much your baby it has the chance of survival at each week. And I'm saying to them, like, please just wait. And they were like, listen, we 2 weeks, we gave you 2 weeks. We not waiting no more because you're going to die if we don't take you in. And they just took them.
I think people don't realize like how dangerous pregnancy is. Like, I think a lot of the times, like, people we grow up and we see pregnancy through the lens of like this rose color. Like everybody talks about their pregnancy. Yeah, we do romanticize pregnancy, but pregnancy is dangerous.
It is dangerous.
It's a matter of life and death.
And then being a Black woman, we're more likely to die at an extremely high percentage over anybody else. And I remember my doctor telling me, and you know, it was a thing of grace type of thing. They were like, just to let you know, don't feel like you have to be 100% anytime soon. They say your internal parts of your body, it's like you've went through a horrible car crash. And they said that the internal parts of your body do not heal for 24 months. Like you do not 100% heal for 2 years.
And my stupid ass had babies back to back. Look, my stupid ass had babies back to back after the first C-section.
And I was driving after my C-section because I'm like, I'm going to go see my baby. I was crazy. I have a whole TMI. I have a hernia, like a small hernia on one side of my stomach because I did not follow their directions, and I used to go to the hospital because Trey used to work late, and then you know, like the kids would be at school. You know, like it just was the timing that we had to go see the baby, and NICU was like late most times. So like, but sometimes the elevator wouldn't work, and we had to like walk up the stairs to go to NICU. And you know, like I had just had a baby, had a C-section. You're not supposed to do that. And I used to walk up the stairs like every day to go see him in NICU. I just, you know, like it's just. That's my baby. You gotta go
like,
see your baby. Like, you can't leave them there. And
so I have like a small hernia on one side because of that. And you know they cure for everything as well. If you lose a little weight, it might go away. Like
right.
Fuck out of here with that.
Doctor, shit. I broke my neck. Well, did you try losing weight?
Yeah.
It's like the first thing they want to say all the time.
Right.
And even so, I have PCOS, so polycystic ovarian syndrome. And with PCOS, one of the, I guess not side effects, right, is that you're infertile. So she's my miracle baby. The fact that I was able to even have her because you can't ovulate a lot of the times and then you can't have a child type of thing. And I remember like the nurse practitioner that diagnosed me, she did all the blood tests, she did all the like scans and all that stuff, and she was like, oh yeah, you just gotta, you know, lose some weight and that's all you gotta do, blah 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 type of thing. But then after talking to some other women, I'm like, there's skinny women that have PCOS. What's your what would you say they do? Anorexia?
Anorexia
me off.
Like, right. And they always say that to Black women all the time.
She already eats grass and air. What more?
Grass and air.
Yeah,
that's fact.
Yeah. So but I'm scared to have another baby because we almost didn't make it that last time though, because I'll never forget I was watching a fucking Texans game and them hoes were losing. I guess that was back when I was into football. Them bitches was losing.
Sorry.
And I kept, you know, like, and then sometimes you get constipated bad when you're pregnant too. So I was like, prune juice, all that stuff. And between the prune juice and the pain, I didn't know if it was the constipation or the situation.
Oh
But
my
like
God.
Trey was working and he like had his mom come because he was scared to like leave me at home, you know, like with the kids, and then he was at work. He was like, "Mom, can you like sit over here with her?" Baby, I told you she probably wasn't there like 2 hours. And then I was just like, it just keep hurting so bad. I was like, I feel like I need to go to the hospital. So like when I came in, like they immediately was like, oh no, like you gotta go, because I'd already started to dilate a little bit, which was my first time even making it that far. Like, but they said if I wouldn't have come in when I did, he would have died, and I probably would have too, because the cord would have come out first. With what was going on. So yeah, it's like I'd be like, girl, I told you, I said, bitch, every time. I was like, it's always something. I'd be like, every
Is
time.
everybody going to DreamCon? Because I'm just gonna hug everybody.
I wish.
I'll be there. I want my hug, Christine.
Yes,
I know you come up to my waist, but that's fine.
I'll be breathing.
It's traumatic sometimes, and it's just like now you in this situation with the government where you can't have an abortion no matter what's going on. It's just like I hear this stuff and it's so traumatizing, because there was this lady, and I hate to, you know, like, let me do a trigger warning for some of y'all. This lady was like, she couldn't have been on like a couple of months, 5, 6, somewhere in there, and she was like, she was just walking from a restaurant one day, and she like she felt something like run down her leg, and you know, she's like, oh no, you know, like, let me go to the emergency room, whatever. And whatever her situation was, the doctor could not help her safely deliver her baby, so they had to like send her home, because if they would have done anything that was like life ending, you know, like whatever, you know, like if it would have ended the life of the child, they could have been held liable. So they basically sent her home like that, and her baby ended up dying, and she had to just kind of like let the baby
deliver him
like at home like that. And she was like traumatized, because she was like, when I went to the hospital, the baby still had a heartbeat, everything was fine, you know, like all this stuff. And I'm like, y'all are fucking fucked up as individuals to like let people go through this, but because it doesn't affect you, it's like it's okay.
They don't care.
And they be the same ones that be like, don't tell me what to do about this, but they be the ones that want to tell everybody else what they got to do about their body and about their, you know what, let's not get started.
Like,
I live in Florida, and DeSantis is getting on my nerves. Let's move
Christine, I've been
Baby,
told
we're not gonna even talk
give you a pass to come to Georgia.
Listen, I do want to.
Our governor has the nickname Governor Hot Wheels, baby. He just as bad as DeSantis. I'm so tired of him. I'm tired of hearing his name.
Trying to compete on what could be worse. We'll see after Disney actually leaves the
idiot.
And then as soon as somebody gets shot up, it's thoughts and prayers. I'm like, y'all let people open carry for no reason.
They know they're not going to be affected.
I'm ready to go, y'all, somewhere else, because it's a lady that went to I think around Austin, like the other day, went to like a shooting range and checked out a whole fucking machine gun and disappeared on their ass with it. So they still don't know where she at, and she just walking around Texas with a fucking machine gun. I'm like, that's crazy as hell. She signed some fake shit on there.
They check out guns. They don't have you bring in your own.
She was supposed to go shoot, but you know, she's a white lady. They trusted her to do whatever the fuck she was gonna do, and she walked out the back and left with the machine gun.
So I think they should. Well, I mean, they're not going to. It's Texas, and then this is Florida, so they're not going to. But the law should be, if you're going to a shooting range, it should be with your own gun, not hey, we have guns you could check out and hope you walk from this side of the building to the other.
I didn't have a gender preference with my daughters. I just wanted healthy babies.
Amen.
I used to want 2 kids, and then I wanted a boy and a girl, and then God was like, nah. We gonna give you 3.
You know that meme where it's like, if you want God to laugh, tell him your plan, right?
Oh, that's why I always say, like, in my past life, I had to be a douchebag, because I cannot, like, on some real shit. In my past life, I must have been a douchebag, because this life, I can't do shit. I can't brag. I can't boast. I could talk shit, but it depends on the occasion. Okay, because life will quickly humble my ass. You hear me?
Life will humble you real
it's like
fast.
Immediately. So I listen. That's why I was like, you know what? Just as long as the baby healthy, I'm good.
Right. I'm not gonna choose.
In general, just in life, you be scared to share good news, because you be like, Satan may come and be like, bye. Like, not today.
Gotta be quicker than that.
We have this next question. This is from Tytrell. Tytrell asked, what was the worst part of parenting for you?
I'll answer this and then I gotta hop off. But the worst part of parenting for me, I would just say, like, just the days, like I pretty much mentioned earlier, that you're just having a long and a tough day, and parents still have lives too, and kids don't understand that. And when it's just a really hard day and you don't really have like that patience that you need to have in certain situations, and then you kind of beat yourself up afterward when you look back on it. I could have not been at 100 when I handled that, but you know, we're only human too. I believe in apologizing to your children when you make a mistake. So
that's a good thing, though.
even though my
That's a
babies are
big
young,
thing.
I have apologized, you know, to them when I yelled at them for certain things I probably shouldn't have yelled at them for, just because mommy was having a hard day. But
and that's
you
just
know, I'd say that's probably the worst part for me. And parenting certain individuals on what your boundaries are for your own kids, and that they should respect those boundaries.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably and consistency, like so that behaviors don't escalate. I'd say that's probably by far the worst thing for me, is like, say me and this, you know, their dad might be on the same page about something, but then, you know, this other person in the house might be like, oh, well, here's the piece of candy that your parents already told you no for. And then it's like stepping on, you don't want it to become like stepping on toes, or they think like the tantrum is this way to get this thing because it worked with this person, even though it didn't work with these two people. So like consistency, like always being like the same across the board, I'd say is also one of the tougher parts of parenting for me. I wouldn't say nothing really the worst part, just tough parts.
I feel like I pretty much agree with everything that Sheera said. I just feel like this hasn't happened yet, or hopefully not at all. But I just feel like for me, the worst thing about parenting would be if my child were to I'm trying to word this like sensitively, I guess. But you know how you do have some kids who commit suicide and things like that. So I just would feel bad if I felt like my child couldn't talk to me, I guess. Like we try to like be open with communication and some things, but still you're still a parent. So at the end of the day, see you later, Sheera.
Hi, Sheera.
Your child may not
you.
Bye.
Your child may not necessarily still feel like they can talk to you about certain things. So I just feel like that would be like a big deal for me. So hopefully, you know, that's nothing I hope I ever have to deal with. But I know you can still be as open and have an open line of communication with your child. And they still may feel like there's things they don't want to communicate like that. So I just always want to make sure my kids know they can talk to me regardless. And then my kids know I'm ignorant. So, you know, it's just kind of like, oh, you can tell me, we'll fix it. Like, we'll fix it. But I just hope that that's never the case, because I feel like I had an open line of communication. I was raised by my grandparents, though. But I still would feel like there's things I couldn't tell them just because of who they were. So I'm just hoping that never becomes like a thing, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say my worst thing would be, it was the paranoia, like of anything really bad happening to my child, like especially when she was first born. Like I could barely sleep. Like postpartum was rough.
Yeah.
And I had what was it called? It was a disarrangement disorder or something like that, or some type of disorder, like because of the change, right? Because it wasn't the, oh, I'm a bad mom, you know, that type of baby blues, right? It was the aspect of like being extremely overwhelmed. My mind was working at 1,000 after,
and your body probably couldn't keep up.
No, and so it would bring on those thoughts. I had a really rough time during postpartum, and I remember like constantly worrying about what life will be for her 20 years from now. Like, okay, if she goes anywhere and something pops off, and mind you, when you know, the whole George Floyd thing was happening and whatnot, and Breonna Taylor and all this other stuff, that did make things worse. Mind you, that was like 2 years later from when she was born, but that paranoia, and even now, every now and again, it'll pop in, like the thoughts of having to be one of those mothers. That is the worst part.
I think we all kind of go through that, because you know, I got boys and they older, and that's kind of how Like it kind of broke us down when the
Same.
George Floyd thing happened, to kind of sit and have to tell your kids how to act around police officers because they're Black. And it's sad because you don't want to like make them look at life, you know, like through that kind of depressive, you know, like kind of state. But at the same time, it's like you have to make sure your kids are safe. So that's like a big thing. And then it's even worse sometimes for my son that's autistic, because I've seen situations where like people don't know how to handle those situations, and that bothers me a lot too. So it's hard for me to be like, that's like I said about the vacation thing, like the family vacation. It's hard for me to like do that, and I'm like tearing up a little bit. But like it's hard for me, like as much as I want to take my family somewhere to be like, oh, let's reap the benefits of all this work we've done, I still have to make sure he's safe, because everybody doesn't understand. Like he's Black and he's autistic. He's a male. Everybody's not going to understand if he has a tantrum, like what's going on, or a meltdown. So that's really hard for me. Like at most, you know, like it's getting to the point where like every Saturday we kind of get in this routine. Now that I have orders, like we'll go together to the post office, we'll go to Starbucks together so he could get his drink, because he likes to drink Starbucks.
He does too.
And then we'll go to Target together. But you know, at Target he's in the basket, so it's not that big a deal. But it's just hard to take him to places where we have to openly let him run around and be around other people, because people don't necessarily understand that, and it's really hard. Because, you know, I ain't trying to pop off on nobody, but I will. But at the same time, you know, I don't want him to get hurt behind somebody else's ignorance. So that's really hard.
It's like the cops are barely trained on what they're supposed to do. So they're definitely not trained on to handle somebody on the spectrum. So, yeah.
The hardest part for me is, well, two things. One, not being able to fix it when your child is hurting. Like my oldest son, he went through mental health issues, and it was really hard for him, like during COVID and going to high school and stuff like that. And I remember he had a conversation with me about him not wanting to be around in this realm anymore. And I couldn't fix it. As much as I wanted to take the hurt away, as much as I wanted to, I was grateful that he felt comfortable enough to talk to me about it. But it hurt me that I couldn't fix it. The other part is, I think, and we talk about this a lot in my support group that I'm in, about how when you have children on the spectrum, like you really don't go places anymore, or your anxiety is like really bad. And I hate the fact that I can't like do certain things that I used to do with Nate, with Austin, like taking him to wrestling events or taking him to monster truck shows. And like, you have to explain to people when you see those looks like, well, what's wrong with him? Like, he's not spoiled. He's not an asshole. He's having a meltdown. My child has autism. And like, I just have like created like this little bubble in my house where that's where I go. I don't go to family events. I don't go out. I'll do my shopping online, because I just I can't handle it anymore. My anxiety is bad. We've had a situation where one of my neighbors called and did a welfare check because Austin had a meltdown. So 2 cops actually came to my home. And one of them was very polite, and the other one wasn't. And I remember him saying to me, like, you know, well, you might want to just give him what he wants next time, so that we don't have to keep coming out here. And I remember I had the choice whether I wanted to cuss him out and go down to the police station and talk to the shift commander, or both. And I just, you know, tried to use that as an opportunity to educate him. Like, this is not easy for me. And I'm like, I know that you go to most houses where there are situations where you have to take children out or you have to rescue these kids, but this is a different situation. And I had to go down to the police station and dedicate my time on weekends or on the Saturday to like basically talk to police officers, because they did not have the
about
proper
human
training
decency
about children on the spectrum or human beings per se. And it's sad, because like I could identify with what Tasha and Christine was saying about paranoid, like I had to talk about police brutality to my oldest before I had a conversation with him about sex. And it's like children who are on the spectrum, they don't respond to commands. They don't
understand.
They don't understand. If you're yelling at them, put your hands up, they're going to cover their ears or they're going to put their hands in there. It's scary. It's really, really scary.
So yeah, I understand you 100% on that. That's why I'm just like, now I still, and it makes you feel bad because it's like, of course I want to, like I say how I take my boys like to the movies or my older kids, but it's like I can't always do that and include my younger son because you know if he might not like the food the restaurant has and it may make him upset or you know like different things like that. Or my son doesn't so much have meltdowns when he goes out, but he likes to like kind of reach for other people, like he's trying to get their attention. I was like, everybody doesn't like to be touched, but he doesn't understand that. So I don't want him to grab the wrong person. And then it's like a problem. So, you know, like for the most part, like I said, if I could take him to a store and then we kind of keep him in the basket, then it's fine. Cause you know, it's fine. But other places where he kind of has, like we try to every so often, because like I said, he has in-home therapy and they do want to see him in like social situations. We'll all go to like Dave and Buster's or whatever. Right. And that's hard because somebody has to be on him like every second because he may run away, you know, he may go grab somebody or whatever. Or like if we're trying to sit down and eat, he's like up walking in the booth trying to see like what everybody else is doing. You know, it's just like it's hard. And it's like feel bad because you want him to be included in everything that you're doing with everyone else. But it's like there's certain things you just can't do and it just be like a good time. It's just, you know, like I said, if we go to Dave and Buster's, like it's kind of like, oh, Trey gotta be on him or I gotta be on him or I have to be like tell one of my kids, can you watch him for a second while I go do this or whatever. If I took him in the prize room, everything coming down, you know, like it's just, you know, it's just kind of situation. So, you know, we try to do the best we can, the stuff that I know he likes. We'll try to stick to that area to do stuff. And then we'll try to eat, and it's hard to do that because he may not like he likes burgers, but you know at Dave and Buster's they're gonna toast the bun. And he's like not gonna eat that because they toasted it. It's not like a regular, but you know it's just that kind of thing. It's like, bruh.
What I have learned was that closed mouths don't get fed, right? And I remember I wanted Austin to go to that wrestling. And I think it was more me because I wanted him to do what his older brother did. And I remember I called Ring of Honor and I said to them, I said, you know, well, do you accommodate individuals with disabilities? And they were like, yeah. So I started talking to the lady and I started explaining to her. And to my surprise, she didn't know anything about autism or anything that, you know, to that magnitude. And that I said, if that company or that wrestling faction ever need anything from me, they could get it for free. I'm telling you, because they really, really went above and beyond for my baby. They had, and I'm getting upset because like people don't realize how much we need that and how much as parents we appreciate that. And I'm talking about like the wrestlers got in the ring and they were like, we got a special friend here, so we're not going to clap as loud or we're going to turn the lights down. And it was so dope and so amazing that they did that for him. And I felt like, you know, that was the best thing in the world for me because I got to share that with him. I got to make a memory that I always wanted. And he got to experience the things that his brother did. So call these places and ask them questions and tell them like, you know, this is what's going on with me. Will you be able to help us? Will you be able to accommodate us? They can say yes or they can say no, but you tried. So
I need to do that because I remember AMC used to have like a sensory showing where like kids that has like sensory issues and stuff like that could all come, and I guess they could just kind of be all over the place or be loud or whatever. And it's not like a regular movie, so you wouldn't really be like you know like disturbing anybody else. But that's like we're big movie people. So that's something that I want him to experience. Like he's 7 and never been to a movie,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, and my other kids saw movies when they were like 4 and 5 and, you know, like stuff like that. So that's like something I really want to do with him. So with us moving though, I may have to check and see like, do they still have stuff like that where he could go and kind of just enjoy, you know, like being there
during the day. And we always take we have to pick a movie that he wants to see really bad. Like he's into Super Mario and dinosaurs and Sonic. So I remember he was talking like for months about, Mommy, Sonic 2 is coming out, the trailer's coming out, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, Aussie, do you want to go? And he's like, yeah. And I remember having that anxiety, like, we not going to be here for long. I'm going to waste my money.
Yeah.
But he sat there the entire movie. But when he was ready to go home, he was ready to go home. He don't stay.
No end credit scenes.
No. He said,
girl, I was scared to take my baby to Dave and Buster's because I was like, if ain't no games in here he like, or if it's like too many people, I'm like, he might be like, hell no. So like, but he likes the games where like you take the balls and kind of like try to throw them in the little things, and then they have that big hungry hippos where you can sit on the hippo and try to like, get the stuff. Like he likes stuff like that. So you know, like it ended up working out well though. And then like of course his therapist got to go with us too. So that was like another situation. But he be playing my therapist though. He be playing his therapist because he know his therapist not really gonna say no to stuff. So that's when it's like if I leave out the room, he'll be like Pop-Tart. He'd be like, now you know you just heard your mama say you couldn't get no Pop-Tart. And he still just be like, and then he has like the phone that has like all the words he used the most on it, so he can kind of if he can't like verbalize it, he can kind of tell you on his device like what he wants. It's cereal, Pop-Tarts, Doritos. It's all. I'm like, yo, you cannot eat. His appetite is crazy, y'all, and don't wait nothing. He will eat all day if you let him. The only time is if he's sick, like he won't eat.
Has he said I love you yet?
Girl would be on the floor. Please.
I
would be on the floor.
Get your, because I remember the one thing that I wanted Aussie to say to me was like, I love you too. Like I just felt like I needed to hear that. Like I still get emotional because he doesn't want to hug me.
Girl,
he doesn't want to be up on
sick
me
for about 2 weeks. Y'all be looking for reactions. They be looking for reactions. I'm on the floor still.
When they start talking and when they start saying the things that you want them, you've been waiting for them to say.
Girl, it was like, just talking in general. Cause it's like with my son, he kind of like as a baby, I knew everything was there cognitively. Like he would sing and dance and you know, do all the stuff that the kids do with the shows. And then it's like when he hit like 1.5, like around 2, it might have been a little more than 2. It seemed like he started to regress. That's when he started to like talk less and all that stuff. So he had said stuff before, so we knew it was there. It was just getting it to come back out. And it's like now you got that gap from like 3 to 7 where he wasn't talking. But you know, he could literally understand everything we say though. If we say, oh, you know, cut off the light or close the door or do whatever, like he would do it just fine. Like all these puzzles, he knew how to do all this stuff, but he just wouldn't like communicate to us. But now he's starting to say like one syllable words. Like if you ask him like, oh, what sound does the cow make? He'll go like moo, you know, like stuff like that. I'm like crying at that. So you know I'm gonna be crying. And he said, I love you. I'm like, bro, like
it is normal.
But
I do want to interrupt really quick. We did get a super chat again, and then I want to say something off of what Phenom said, which I think was an amazing and important takeaway for the like situations like for Phenom, Tasha, and Ash, but also for mothers or parents or people as a whole. But really quick, this is going to get loud and obnoxious. Lang. Shout out to Courtney Walker for the donation. Appreciate you. Happy early Mother's Day. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you,
Courtney.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. I love where this conversation like went. I do agree, and I feel like empowered in that thought process. The fact that, you know, you were like, this situation happened with the police officers, so I'm going to go down and talk to them and educate them. I like understandably cursing him out. No one would fault you, right? No one would fault you. But like taking the time to be like, hey, I'm going to take this time to educate you and have these conversations that need to be had, and then even calling the wrestling company and telling them, you know, and talking to them and explaining it to them, and you'll find the compassion, because that and this is something that I thought of saying early on, but the conversation we flowed many different ways since the beginning of this stream.
Sorry.
But no, not at all. One of the things that being a mother has taught me, and this is something I will ask you guys as well, but hold on. Lang. I'm gonna just do this right now so they don't have to wait. Shout out to the Lilac Flute. Happy Mother's Day, Queens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shout out to you for the super chat. But like one of the things, because there are many lessons I learned being a mom, like, right, that you realize from when you have a kid. Like I realized that the reason that parents tell you not to talk during eating is not so you don't choke. It's just that they want a moment of peace, and they would at least, at the very least, like to have this meal without you gabbing about anything, complaining, nothing. Just don't talk. And you tell them you don't want them to choke because they do value their lives, but you want quiet. You want quiet, okay? Yeah. But another thing I learned is like, when I was before having a child, and you'd see a mom with their kid out in public and the kid is throwing a tantrum or crying, making all, and you have that mindset that, especially, you know, West Indian household, I'd be like, that's not going to be my child. Like when we're in public, my child is not going to act like that. We're not going to have that situation. They're not going to have that mindset. And you think like it's the parent's fault, right? When you don't have kids. But when you have kids and you realize the wide spectrum, not even just saying like on the spectrum for autism, but the spectrum for children in general, like where they may have, because my daughter, she's not a bad child. My daughter is an amazing child. However, she has her moments where she has a full-on tantrum.
She's learning.
And she's crying and screaming because she has no other way to express herself.
Yeah.
Because if she knew how to verbalize and vocalize, like, hi, mother, I really don't want to do this right now. I want to do this other thing, you know, or even the understanding like, okay, right now we're just going to sit here and we'll be here for a little bit and then we're going to leave. We're going to go do something else. But she doesn't understand that. And so having that tantrum and it's that mindset of compassion. I have so much compassion when I see a mom that has a child that is like crying, bawling, you know, carrying on, or a mother that looks stressed and sternly talks to their child in the mall. And beforehand, I'd be like, man, that mother is mean. Now I'm like, girl, get your peace where you can, right? You know, it's like that mindset of having compassion. So the question that I do want to pose to all of you guys is, what is a lesson that being a mom has taught you?
Ooh,
Patience.
I mean, everybody's saying
patience. And grace.
Definitely grace.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned with my older kids that it's okay to apologize to your kids. I feel like a lot of adults don't feel like they have to apologize to their children, but even if they're younger, they're still people too. And I just feel like it's like, you know, you want respect as a parent, like you have to respect your child. Like, they didn't ask to be here. That's what I feel like a lot of people don't understand. You know, you get that, I brought you into this world.
Like they own,
but it's like they didn't ask to be here.
That-ish. I remember one time I was like, take me out there.
You don't have that power because I'm sick of this.
But like, it's just, I just feel like I've learned a lot, especially, and I give thanks to me having my child is autistic for the patience, because that's where it comes from, really just knowing that I can't discipline you or deal with you the same way that I did my other kids. Like it's just because he won't understand. Like if he's upset and having a meltdown, if I yell at him, he's just yelling louder. It's not like he doesn't understand why I'm upset. Or you know, if you did spank your child, if you spanked the child that was autistic, they just feel like, you know, like I don't want my child to feel like I hate them, or you know, like it's something, you know, they don't understand why they're getting yelled at or why they're getting in trouble. Now my child knows there's certain things not to do, but he will tempt fate even though he's autistic. Like if I say, oh, don't do this, he'll kind of like look and wait for me to walk off and try to pull it with somebody else, and I'm like, what I just say? Like what I did. I'm like,
they will test
but I'm
you,
like, they'll test you and tip you, but you know, it's just like you just have to find another way. Like I just sometimes you have to literally walk away, take a couple deep breaths and like come back later, because if he's having a meltdown, and that's the thing too about autistic kids, you have to know the difference between just them having a tantrum and a meltdown, because it's different. A meltdown, nothing is gonna stop it. Like it's just screaming and crying until they feel like they're okay to stop, and then it's like,
or they fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then
they've tuckered themselves out.
And it definitely sucks for parents who have autistic kids that like self-harm.
Yeah,
because that's like a big thing too. So, you know, it's just, I'm trying to get my kids to know, like, don't hit. Because, you know, he kind of like gets frustrated. He'll kind of like pop his, you know, like, and then, you know, like the older you get and the stronger you get, it's just gonna get like worse and worse and worse. And I'm just like, no, we gotta nip that in the bud now. Cause like, I ain't trying to wrestle you when you 16. And autism kids, they strong. They like superhero strong. Like
they are strong as hell.
They are strong. Cause like, baby, like I told y'all, my son don't like his haircut. The way it take like 3 of us to cut his hair sometimes. And I'm like, that's how strong he is. I'm like, child, you gonna take us all out because this hair. Like,
and I had to tell my husband, because, and I felt bad because I don't think that my husband has really like accepted the fact that he's on the spectrum, because that's his boy. He wants his boy to be just like everybody else. And I'm trying to figure out a way to not come off to him as a control freak or tell him how to parent, because sometimes he gets defensive, and I get it. It's like he just wants to do things with his son, but I'm like, listen, we have to do it this way because you messing up our thing while you at work, and it's going to be hell for me. And I remember
they used to a routine too.
Yes.
Certain stuff, so.
And I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was giving Aussie a haircut, and I get to the point where I can just cut his hair. We got through the stage where I can shape him up now, and then he's up. He's like, I had enough. That's it. I saw you got he called it the baby clippers. You got the baby clippers. We almost finished. I'm like, yes, we almost finished. And he's like, okay, bye. But my husband, he's a male, so males, when they get their hair cut, they put like the little
alcohol
stuff. And
no.
Like, no. And I'm like, babe, please don't do that, because I just got him to where I need him to be. He's like, but he's going to get bumps. And I'm like, no, he's not. Leave him alone. But I get it. He wanted to do something with his son and go
share
it. And I kind of felt like I messed it up, but I'm trying to figure out a way to explain to him, like, this is how I need you to help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not me telling you what to do. You're a bad parent. You're a bad dad, but this is how you can help us when you're not at home, because it's rough. So it's hard, especially coming from trying to explain to the other, like, and he'll say things sometimes like, he's fine, and I'm like, no, he's not. Like, I can literally see his anxiety, or I can literally feel like this is about to be a hot mess. And I'm really struggling at times with how to communicate that to him and tell him, like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You're a very capable person of raising him. I just need you to help me out this way. So those one of the things that I struggle with, as far as like as far as like co-parenting.
Having a partner. Yeah. I would say one of the things, because having to deal with that on both sides, right? There are times where he'll say things like that, and I would get defensive before, but I've had situations where I'll be like, okay, this is hard to do, or this is not hard to do, or not hard to do, but this is hard to do if you do it this way, right? Or if you do it that way. And it wasn't an understanding he had. So I was like, you know what, you go through with it, then you deal with it, and then you can learn. And not even like not in a petty mindset, but I'm like, because I understand what you're saying, like having that mindset, and it's something that he shared too, because especially if you're the one that has been interacting with the child a lot in a certain way, because I breastfed her until she was like a little past 2, so she was always on me, right? So now him having more time with her and more experiences with her, that's his child, that's his baby. He wants to have those experiences. But it's like, we got a routine going where I have peace of mind. And if you do it this way, you ruin my peace of mind. So it became a situation where it was like, okay,
you gotta meet in the middle.
And if it sometimes I understand if you try to explain it to them, like having a conversation can be good, but sometimes it can come off like as if you're trying to say that that he doesn't know what he's doing. So understanding where I have to also say like, no, you are capable. I get that, and he's had to say that to me.
And it's
sometimes
almost like
things. I'm like,
it's almost like your needs. It's kind of you're trying to make sure that you let them know like your needs are just as important as my needs, because what he needs from his child might be different than what you need. So just trying to find that common ground. Like I get what you're saying.
Because me and Trey had to, like, since our son does the home therapy every day and we're not morning people, we have to swap days. Like, you know, like today was his day, tomorrow will be my day to get up, Friday will be his day, and then when Monday comes around, it'll be my turn. Like, we kind of just alternate like that so that no one person is like, you know, it doesn't all kind of fall. Because it could be a lot depending on the day, you know. Some days it may not be, but that's kind of how we had to go through it with that, with the in-home therapy. So
I would say maybe have him do the haircuts, have him do all the haircuts. That way he'll learn from the beginning to the end. And he'll be able to meet you there. You were saying, Leash?
One thing that I learned about motherhood and all of that is that you do essentially, well, for me, I do have to essentially take time for myself and be the best person that I can be in order to give my child everything that she needs. I feel like I've been blessed with parents that allowed me to grow up, because I had my daughter when I was 20. So I'm a baby adult. I don't know what the hell. I have a child. I'm like fresh out of college. Well, I dropped out of college, so I'm fresh out of college. So I'm, you know, you trying to figure it out. And so my parents basically, you know, helped me out. Of course they said stuff, you know, but essentially I learned to become the best person that I could be. So that way I could give to my daughter, and to also, I've also learned that I'm not going to have all the answers right away. And some things I'm just going to have to learn as I go. Because you do get hung up. You get hung up on the stuff that you don't know. And instead of appreciating the times that you have showed up for your child, like, and the times that you have showed up for your child always supersedes the times that you fucked up. And as humans, we tend to do that a lot. So it's like you know, like, I'm not the same person who I was last year. I definitely ain't the same person who I was 10 years ago. I definitely wasn't the same person who I was when I first had my child. And looking back at the progress and who I am and how I mother, I'm just like, I look at those and I'm like, okay, like, you're good. Like, there's nothing to worry about. Even when I do get in my head, I'm like, you're good, because you're always like looking for, like, you know, room to grow and improve. So that's one thing I will say that I learned, that, like, because even with me being a full-time content creator and, you know, coming from bartending and whatever, my mind wasn't in the headspace to, like, after I worked a goddamn 12-hour shift.
Right.
Hello? I come home to my daughter and she's talking about what we gonna eat. And I'm like, girl, I just got done serving food. I ain't trying to serve no more food.
Right.
Like, you gonna tip me? You gonna give me a tip?
But not like, but learn it, like, now that I'm able to, like, wake up whenever I want to wake up, except to, like, when I have to take her to school, but I could come home and take a little nap, you know, and I'm more patient and I'm more available and I'm more present. And that's something that I've always wanted. And with me being more present, I'm becoming a better mom, you know, and I get to see all of the stuff that, even though I feel bad because I did miss a lot of her youth, you know, just being out there in the streets, being a hoochie, you know. But now it's just like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. So my time with her is my time with her. I'm not gonna, you know, look at the past and think about all the stuff that I didn't do. I'm gonna do all the stuff that I can now. So that way, you know, thank God she was a baby. She don't remember me being a hoochie, but now Now she gonna see the best mom that she gonna get the best mom that she could get. So that's one thing I learned.
I love that. I love that. I feel like it makes me think of like one of my current lessons is recognizing clinginess as just a want to be around, you know, like there are times where she's like, right now, like she's in this very, very clingy phase. And me, I'm just like struggling, like going to the bathroom by myself. I'm just like, no, like this is okay. You are allowed to go to the bathroom by yourself, you know, like fighting with that guilt of like, oh, she wants to be in the bathroom with me, but I want some space. And I'm telling her, no, go play, go do something, just anything, be safe, and just somewhere in the living room, just go somewhere and do something. So I could just use the bathroom for a little bit of time, and then struggling with that, but also recognizing that clinginess that can get annoying when you're, when you just want a moment to just breathe mentally. But it's just the fact that she really wants to be around me. And when I think of that, it just makes me want to go scoop her out of her bed right now and put her beside me, you know, like the aspect of like, you really want to be around me this much. You're this sweet little Sour Patch Kid.
And my therapist told me like it's okay for you to say no to your kids. Like if you're burnt out and you don't have it, like I remember last week my oldest was like, can you take me to the mall? And I'm like, no. And it felt good. I'm like, no, I'm not taking you to the mall.
This is the way you said it. No.
That's it. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to play these video games and do nothing. No, not today. And he was like, okay. Like, where did that go?
What activity?
Right.
It is hard to tell your kids no, though, because you just look at them and you're just like, oh, my little sunshine. Right. Anything you want. But then you got to tell yourself, nah, you can't you can't be no sucker like the grandparent.
I feel like that's good, though, to tell. It's good to tell your kids no, because you know once they get out in real life, it's going to be like a lot of no's.
Yep.
And they need to learn how to process that.
I was a spoiled child. I was a daddy's girl. My daddy.
I was spoiled, too, because my granddaddy spoiled me. I was a like I stayed with my grandparents. So that was like the ultimate, and I'm an only child. I was definitely spoiled. Wow. But I had to learn how to be like, as much as I want to like say yes, sometimes it has to be a no, because when you get out in real life, it's going to be a no. And you need to know how to handle that. Because some people give their kids everything, please. But you know, like, that's what some people, they give their kids everything, and then those are the ones that go out in life and kill people because they told like,
that is the truth.
And I'm so serious.
No, it is the truth. It's like, it's the sad thing. It's like when you have the situations where the guy pulls up. I mean, that's normally our palm color folks, but sometimes it's like when the guy tells the girl no. And he rolls up at her house, like, and you know, it beat him situations.
Shooting people for getting rejected, like,
that's
like
I'm gonna need your mom and dad to tell you no.
Like a guy had gotten rejected from a job interview, so he rolled up. He rolled up,
put up on it. Don't take my life because I work. You can have this job. You can take You can have it. So like
it is like, sir, there are other jobs out there. You know, like this ain't the only one that exists. In this field.
But
like
it is like people really have. I'm really on this whole new age of like, I hate when women like tear down men for like being kind of like emotional. Because I'm like, this is why they fucking offing everybody, because like y'all not letting them be emotional. They got shit stored up. Exactly. They got shit stored up from when they were 4. From when they memories first set in, the first time they got pushed off the swing, they still over here mad about that shit. Y'all never let them cry.
It's like men can't vocalize their emotions. They can't tell you what they feel.
Yeah, and it's like no, they human too. They got tear ducts. They were made with tear ducts. Right. Like let them. Or do
even
that
being nice.
So that's why I try to teach my boys. Like they used to have that saying, "Boys don't cry." That's a lie. Like
that. I can't stand that.
Do that because I don't need to read about you in the paper or see you on the news because you know what I'm saying, you got this buildup of emotion. Because like my oldest does that. He kind of like, well, both of my kids kind of do that. They kind of keep things in. I think it's just because they're teenagers. Like if they're like irritated or whatever, and I'll be like, you know, like what's wrong, and they'll kind of be like, nothing. It's not a big deal, or you know, like it's not important. I'm like, but it is because you're clearly upset. So like you know, like whatever it is. Like try to talk about it or deal with it or whatever, you know, like don't keep all that in though, because eventually it's gonna pop.
It will come out. It will come out. And that's the thing. I do feel like, especially because I mean, social media, the age of social media, there are goods and bads that come with it, and some of the bads is the quickness that people forget how real people are and
people
the
think they know
interactions that
you
you have
from watching
Right.
videos too.
Right. And then just the quickness of being able to spill your thought right at your fingertips. And so I know there was a situation where a guy was talking about something and he was tearing up, kind of expressing his experience. I think it was with dating or whatnot. And there was this onslaught of women attacking him and saying like, oh, that's why, because you're not man enough and all sorts of stuff, like really going in on this man.
They do that.
And it's like if you, it's with a double-edged sword because
y'all?
we cry all the time,
and
right?
then be wondering why they
all the
can't keep
time.
nobody at the house. That's
Exactly.
why. That's why, you know.
I mean,
Child, let
that's
me
true.
hush.
That's
But
ridiculous.
they did trade like that when we watched the Black Panther trailer, and we both got. I feel like he got more emotional than I did, just because, you know, like Chadwick had passed away, and then, you know, like watching the trailer and seeing Angela when Angela delivered them lines,
when she said,
and then he was just kind of like, he teared up in the video. People were in the comments like, you crying over a fictional, you know, like all this kind of stuff. I'm like, bitch, but somebody really died though that played this character.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
I cried that whole damn movie.
Me too.
And it was sad. I feel like it
saw
meant
it twice
more.
and cried both times.
It meant more for us because that's like, you don't get that positive male figure like that. And that was his whole thing. Like, yeah, we could be the smart villain, or we could be, you know, you got to be like Denzel in Training Day, or but you don't see that T'Challa type of he a king and he's trying to do right by his people. You don't see that for our
and they were there, mind you, at Wakanda. Go ahead, rep your shirt. Go ahead, put the titties up so we can see. Yes, but Wakanda, you know, is the richest and highest technologically advanced civilization in fantasy. So it's like, and black, hello, like, so it's the
Stanley knew what he was doing.
Him being richer,
and
he's like richer than
a boy, because you know the whole the X-Men is off of the racial injustice, and one is, but he said
Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
and Malcolm X. So it's like,
and reading them comics and being able to see what, being a child, seeing that your first black comic character or whatever, and then you grow up and see them on a movie.
Inclusion matters. It's so many people that say inclusion doesn't matter, but just like, I was so happy.
Normally
for, like,
they're white,
please, and I was just like, but if you're
always included,
that do ignorant shit like that sometimes too. If our own people that do ignorant shit like that, sometimes. But like, I was so
remember
happy,
that
like,
first release,
Shang-Chi for like the Asian people. I'm like, they like, you know, like they were so happy. When you know, like, I'm like, yes, because like inclusion matters. Like watching Moon Knight, and then you had that little girl that was like, oh my god, are you like an Egyptian superhero? You know, like, I'm like, that stuff matters for people. But it's like, I just feel like you just need to like take another look at life if you feel like shit like that don't matter, because you know, then you got ignorant ass Tyrone Magnus out here, you know, like doing his Guardians review, talking about this is how you get a happy fan when you don't do all this woke, you know, like he just looks so fucking dumb to be damn near 50, talking about the fact, like, if you, I seen a comment that was like, if you 50 and can't watch two dudes kissing, there's something wrong with you, because like, why does that bother you so much? Like, why does it bother you that people are like included? Like, it makes you seem like you download, because like, why does that bother you so much? Like,
oh dude, not you coming for
why is your masculinity like
so the next question
challenged?
is,
I'm just being honest, it's all over the internet. If you make a spectacle of yourself, then you open yourself up for people to talk about you like that. Like, you could have kept that review to yourself.
So Jeremy Ark asks, if your kids made you breakfast in bed for Mother's Day, are you trusting that food?
Oh no.
Well,
my daughter could cook no.
Well, I have older kids.
I would.
I could for my kids. It depends on the age. Like back in the day. like back in the day, I don't know, but this
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would.
I'm good. Order me
McDonald's.
My son can order a mean DoorDash. I'll take that.
Please.
Listen, they all be in there making something for breakfast. Like, they know how to use the air fryer. I got this little griddle. They'll scramble an egg and put the egg in there. So it'll be like a little circle. That's
egg. My middle son be ignorant with the food.
So I think I might have a
bye, Miss Pinky.
Bye, everybody.
For me, my daughter is 4, so no, I'm not trusting that. And I would be astonished if she did cook something, like legit cook something.
She gonna give you some cereal with orange juice.
I would be
as the milk.
No, I think she'll be diligent enough to be like, okay, that's not milk, so I won't use that. I still wouldn't trust it though, because she don't like washing her hands. She'll do it because I keep telling her to. But it's the fact that she used the bathroom and come out, and I'll be like, go wash your hands. Did you wash your hands? She's like, well, I just want to hug you first. No, not with your dirty hands. Go wash your hands. Like, go wash your hands. So I like that is so that's one of my main
Christine
reasons.
broke out the accent. That's how you know.
Doing a CSI investigation on her breakfast, trying to see if she can see stuff.
I need a black light. Like, let me look to see. Did you know? Goodness, that's definitely yes. I wouldn't trust it. Let me see. We did talk about this already. We did talk about this already, but shout out to Mr. Brandon for this question. I'll just read the question, but we did talk about this already. As the son of a Black mom, I love seeing this. How do y'all navigate raising Black children in the current landscape? Any difference between boys and girls? Oh, that part we didn't talk about. So for me having, and Leash, you can chime in because your daughter's older. She goes to school. She's out in the world. Yes. Mine is pretty much in this bubble of a house. And if she is out, she's with family members or, me and my husband. And I would say, I do think about the potential conversations I will have to have with her. I don't think that they are going to be to the T as boy moms will have to be, because the difference in ratio of the injustices that happen, they happen way more to men than they do to women. For women, it's more so the getting taken advantage of part that we have to discuss and we have to talk about. So right now, since she's 4, I do make sure I have these conversations with her where I tell her where her no places are, where no one can ever touch. I'm like, if someone tells you, oh, it's our secret, I'll be like, listen, make sure you let mommy know. Mommy and daddy must always know. Anytime anybody says that they have a secret, they tell you, oh, don't tell, because that's the saying, don't tell your parents because they're going to get mad at you. I'm like, I promise we will never get mad at you. Always tell us if anybody touches you in any of those places, you tell us. So I used to tell her to say, don't touch me there, to like punch and run. But then I'm like, you don't want to punch them, just try to run, because I don't want her to get snatched up or them try to retaliate in any type of way. I'm like, just run. But I even think about, like, there are times where I'm like, if someone ever tells you that your skin is ugly or that your hair is ugly, I will say, and I'm not going to excuse my French. I'll say, fuck you, you're ugly. And I'm like, you can say that at 4. And if somebody we don't know if we're not going to put her in school, but if we were going to put her in school and that situation happens and they call us to the front, I'll be like, listen, she had to defend herself. And I stand by what my daughter said, because it's not going to be the situation where you're going to be like, oh, she's going to get in trouble. And this other kid, no, that other kid is wrong. She had to defend herself. And mind you, if you voted for the governor, we're going to go in this. If you voted for the governor who decides that this is how you defend yourself by carrying without a license, then I don't want to hear your issue about my daughter saying the F words, your little nappy. I mean, sorry. You're not.
We're in danger.
You're non-nappy having kids.
Since we on parental conversations, I saw an interesting TikTok where this lady said you shouldn't teach your kids stranger danger. But the logic of it is, kids won't think that the person they're talking to is a stranger if they seem nice, because kids don't understand the definition of a stranger. So, if somebody come up to me like, oh, can you help me do something with my dog? Or, oh, I have candy. Like, you don't think of that person as somebody that's going to harm you or that's a stranger. So when you teach them stranger danger, is not really helping, because if the person doesn't come off like they're going to do anything wrong to you, then the kid is still going to do whatever anyway. So it's like, you can't, and I get that, because, you're so used to stuff you learned back in the day, but then you have to think about, like, with the internet and how people approach things now. It's
I tell my daughter not to trust anybody.
And I also
right, and that's true though, because you
we
can't
say
trust the
even
people you
family
know
members.
too.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, no, I'll give her a list. The only people that could touch you, like when it comes to her down there, we have to clean it, right? Because she's 4, right?
Right.
So I'm like, we clean it. Mommy and daddy can clean it. Your grandma can clean it. But I'm like, nobody else should be touching you there at all. And if anyone ever does, I'm like, whether they're family members or not, you need to let us know right away who touched you and in what ways they touched you. And it sucks that you have to have this conversation, but it's like, I'm trying to train her now to understand that you don't have to feel like you have to keep secrets.
School, because like I've seen that stuff with these laws they trying to pass. Where
in Florida, it gets worse and worse in Florida.
But there's a state where like the teachers can like take your child's bottoms down to see like what they are, to see if they're like trans or not. They're doing that.
Go up to that school.
It's upstate somewhere too that they're doing that they're legally letting them do that. And I'm like, that's sexual.
In Florida, they're trying to pass something where they have to. I don't know if they did pass it yet, but I know they were talking about passing about tracking periods. In order to do sports, if you want to do any type of sports thing like tracking periods,
that's so stupid though, because everybody still don't get one. Like, you know,
that trans can't go to the bathrooms in Florida.
I saw a law for Florida where like they can take your kids if your kids
that's why Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union moved.
If your kids identify as trans, they can like take your kids even if you're not from Florida. Like if you're visiting Florida and your child is trans, like they can take your child. And I'm like, why y'all trying to run everybody's life?
Florida needs to be on a no travel ban. Like
it ain't even just them though.
I mean, to be honest,
but I just like this is why they try.
Georgia ain't no better
because TikTok have a lot of useful information on it. That's probably why they be trying to like take it away. But there was like they were listing like all these crazy laws they're trying to pass, and I think one state is trying to do the death penalty for abortion.
Are you kidding me?
Now I also heard that, like, say for instance, Leash needed a ride and I'm her Uber driver. If I take her, I could get arrested or get possible jail time, but she would get the more severe crime because she actually had the procedure. I did hear that they were trying to pass that law as well.
That's because they know that our population is declining because they refuse to give anybody any type of good job, and then housing,
healthcare,
and then
I feel like the child thing. To be honest, I feel like the child thing is for trafficking because
it is.
The more children that are there that they take to like social services or that are unwanted or whatever, that's just children.
There's a rise in those box. They have, the little baby box that they have at like certain places where if a woman doesn't want, if a woman doesn't want her kid, she just puts it in the little box. There's like they're building more and more of them because they understand that we can't take care of kids, but they still need those bodies because essentially, they need workers. So if it's a whole thing.
Crazy. And I'm like, it's amazing how so many other countries function without all this bullshit we do in the US, but they want to say that we the greatest, freest country in the world. And I'm like,
only if you're a Wahite. Man,
child, some of them
Caucasian.
Someone. Oh no, I think was it Chelsea that said the term. I don't want to say it was Chelsea if it wasn't, but somebody had said the term. I think it was Chelsea. She had said Mayonnaisians, and I was like,
that was her.
I heard a white man refer to his own people as paper towel bandits, and like. I was so done because he was like one of those people that do like the true crime TikToks, where they be like, "Oh
my goodness!"
He calls them.
Hold on, I have a question. Did it come after the hurricane in Puerto Rico when Tangerine was chucking paper towels into the crowd?
Oh my goodness!
I just know he called them paper towel bandits.
Paper towel bandits.
He was just chucking paper towels into the crowd. Yeah, I'm helping. Here, chucking paper towels to the crowd.
He had a lot of names. There's just one that sticks out. They were all wild, but that's the one that sticks out. He said paper towel bandits.
That's hilarious.
I'm using
Elise,
that.
what about you for since your daughter's older? Since your daughter's older, what are like? Do you have to have the social justice conversation or the how to act towards police conversation or whatnot?
I do because even though Black men get murdered disproportionately by police officers, Black women aren't exempt. As we could clearly see, we had like Breonna Taylor and that whole case that went on. It's like if you're Black, period, in America, I mean, you're gonna have to have that conversation with your child regardless of whether or not they're male or female or like otherwise, because it's just the state of the world that we live in. And then on top of that, yes, like, you know, Black women's bodies were not, you know, it's not seen as our own. It's like people don't view our body as autonomous. I mean, that could be said with any woman, but specifically like Black women, we get overly sexualized and, you know, things like that. And I have a child that's shapely. Like, we even joke about it because I'm sorry, but my child is shapely. I call her, her name's Genesis, so I call her Genesis the miniature stallion. Like,
I'm screaming.
Well, no, Genesis the miniature pony. That's what I call her. But I mean, I want her to embrace her curves. I want her to feel like she's weird. But I also let her know, like, you know, don't let no little boys touch on your butt. Yeah. Don't let no little boys touch on you, period. Don't let no grown man touch on you. Like, I give her those conversations because it's like, you know, you're going to grow up where you're basically going to be.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be like.
You got to give the talk about the grown women nowadays, too, because
I mean, yeah, that's true.
That's true. Ladies out here having relationship with kids. I'm like, what is going on?
That's true.
When is the time between peas and carrots?
After school. After school. They was having
I guess that's when they would have the time.
She was taking him home, girl. All kinds of stuff. I was like, okay, then.
So I definitely have the conversation with her. Like, you're not ready for any type of romantic touch. No.
And then having
and to advocate for themselves.
Yeah. When she gets a little bit older, I might give her the, you know, talk about sex, but I don't think she's at that age. Definitely not right now. Because she's only, in my mind, it's like she's 13. Like, yeah, their bodies is going through the change, but I'm like, yeah, we'll wait. Because I don't even think she's at like the minds.
And to be fair, they already know about a lot of this stuff anyway before we talk to them because of the stuff they see online and the stuff other kids be saying. So.
It's like, I think like parents have kind of like a feeling when it's time, because my mom kind of knew when it was time to talk to me about it, you know, and I always remember what she said about, it's so stupid, but she said, you got to sample before you buy, but don't sample anything you don't intend on buying. I always remember her. I love
that though.
I love that.
That was her sex conversation with me. And then she used to like basically tell me, like, if you're going to do it for you. Don't get pressured into doing it or whatever. So she was very like, my mom surprisingly was very sex
open.
Positive. Yeah, my mom was very open. And that's because she was married for forever. My parents been married for 47 years. So so it's just like she understands, like, you know, all the stuff that you're gonna go through as a young woman. So it's just like, I'm a little bit. It's funny because I'm not as open with my daughter. I'm just like, ugh, don't talk. Even though I try to listen, but I'm definitely judging the whole time in my head because I don't want her to like not come to me.
Oh my God!
Right,
you want to be
open.
I'm definitely like in there. I'm judging. I'm like, oh God, please don't tell me you like this little boy.
I think he shares a little too much.
That's good though. That's good. You don't want no little secretive child. I was sneaky, so I don't want her to be sneaky.
Right.
You know?
I'm talking about. I found condoms and honey packs in his wallet, and I'm like, what are you doing?
This is the second time I've heard that what is a honey pack? Can somebody explain to me?
Like gas station pills.
Oh,
like the blue rhinos.
I'm like,
don't ask how I know the names.
So a cheap version of like
a pack of honey, like from Chick-fil-A.
No, and see, that's
I
know it's a sex thing, but I didn't know what it was.
I thought that's what it was, and we had Popeye's biscuits, and I forgot to get honey.
Oh no!
And he said, "Ma, can you get my my permit?" Because we were signing up for his driver's test. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna eat these biscuits. And I was like, oh, you got honey in your wallet. He was like, no.
Oh my God.
Eat that.
Oh my gosh. So it's like cheap Viagra.
Phenom would have been in that goddamn DMV calling her husband like, babe, what you doing? Where you at right now? Come here immediately.
I'm sitting up there like, you got honey in your wallet.
It's Viagra and honey.
Why does he have that? He's a teenager.
Exactly.
He said somebody gave it to him, and he was going to give it to my husband because he didn't know what to do
he was going to give it to Dad.
Because he was like, I don't know what to do with this. He said I was going to ask him what it was, but
how old is he?
He's 17. Who, my husband?
No.
Oh, he's 17. He's 17.
Oh my god.
Either way, you was gonna get that honey pack. One way or the other.
One way or the other.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't know what to do with it. He said, but he had forgot to like take it out and give it to him.
Not him
And I
saying,
was like,
no,
throw
don't
this in
eat
the
that.
trash.
Oh, God.
Imagine if he would have ate that
Popeye's
before he
biscuits up.
found out.
Child.
That's
No,
funny.
don't eat that.
He was like, no.
I thought they was just, I didn't know it was actual honey. I just thought that was like the name of it. So that's crazy.
But when
Yeah.
you said honey pack, I thought you meant like the Chick-fil-A honey. Like
That's what I was going to use it for. I was
That's
gonna
for, it's
write
for
on
sex.
my
There's no other use for that thing besides
it's a different type of
fornication.
biscuits you make.
Yeah.
Not the dick kind of.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, this was a lot of fun. We did have a couple other questions. Oh gosh, it's 1:45. I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, time really flies. So this will be a fire.
Rapid fire.
Thank you, because my
You're
mind.
welcome.
I'm thinking of this cake in front of me, and I'm like, I'm gonna eat
With
some
all
more.
the sprinkles.
I know. Before my teeth were kind of like vibrating earlier, but I'm like, I'm gonna still eat some later. All right, really quick. What was your baby's first word, and how did it make you feel?
Daddy, and that goddamn sperm donor wasn't even around.
Oh.
Dada, what the? What you saying? You don't even know him. Dada.
I think all my
Who
kids'
is he?
first words were that day.
I know who he is.
Yeah. Same.
I'm mad.
Yeah,
Y'all brought up a
Please,
bad
I'm
memory.
angry.
Her first was Dada, and I said betrayal. I feel
It's
betrayed.
always. I feel like
All
that's
them
the
months.
easiest.
Definitely.
Supposedly, that's the
Putting
easiest
up
thing
with
to
that
say.
crap.
I had the rash. And
Please.
you gonna say his name first?
Yep.
I got you. I got you.
Think that's something.
This was a question from Dunham. Did you all want to be parents, and was it like what you thought? I did want to be parents. Like Phenom, I wanted a football team. I wanted to have 5 kids, and then I had the one, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to have another. I do swim in and out between getting another one because my husband does want to try for a boy. So we were thinking about it. Then we had this conversation, so I'm gonna need maybe another 30 days before I think about it again.
That's fair.
But yeah,
Thinking about that rash.
right. Was it what I thought it would be? No, but there are better. There's like it's better than I thought it was going to be, and it's worse than I thought it was going to be as well.
Yeah.
In moments.
It got its ups and downs, but it's still worth it in the end.
I didn't want kids, but
Really?
my daughter hid from me. I was on birth control, and she hid from me. And I went to school in Florida, so I did Florida activities. Wink, wink.
In college,
in college, yeah. So
top party schools for a reason.
Yeah. So I remember I had like one night I was just partying, and I just couldn't. I didn't feel good like for like a week. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? Like I couldn't eat. Every time I was hungry, I would eat 2 bites, couldn't finish. Right. Yeah. So I remember I was on the phone with my mom. And she was like, I was telling her, I was like, Mom, something wrong with me. I was like, every time I'm hungry, but every time I eat, I can't eat. And then my grandma was in the car with her. And she said, oh, Leash might be pregnant. And I'm like, I ain't pregnant. I'm on birth control. So eventually I was just like, you know what? Let me go see. So I went and I was 3 to 4 months pregnant.
Wow.
4 months?
Mm-hmm.
She hid
for me.
She hid for me. There.
Yep. So I was like, I heard the heartbeat. I saw the legs and the arms moving. I was like, I guess I'm having a baby. It was like
no more partying in there.
Yeah. I was like, when I saw her, I was just like, I knew she was supposed to be here. So,
wow.
But then after that, I got on IUD. It's blocking my ovaries. Okay. Block the ovaries.
That's good.
Listen. Everybody's like, I'm scared of birth control. I'm like, shit.
At this point, I could donate my ovaries to somebody else.
I'm scared of another baby. That's what I'm scared of.
But
Ash, really quick, what about you?
Yeah, I only wanted a boy and a girl, and then I wound up having a girl and 2 boys, which was fine. But the first 2 was like back to back, so I was like, oh no. I had no more.
I hit you with that back to back.
4
I was
years
like,
later, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely done. The doctor was like,
my baby was still in the crib when I found out I was pregnant again.
Wait, you didn't wait? You didn't wait the time you were supposed to wait?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I think we did it like right. It was like
when
right
that time.
So the both of y'all was just like, oop, it's the final day, and y'all just busted it open. Ooh!
I don't like my kids are like,
guess what day it is?
I know, right? Do you know what today is? It's the day you give me. Hey, let's go. Y'all, don't shake your head there, Tasha. You should have been shaking your head then and saying no.
So the next question is from Denim. What is one you make sure to copy from your parents' parenting style, and what is one thing you choose not to do about your parenting? Your parents did raising you. Well, we did talk about like the things we didn't want and the things that they lacked or whatever. One thing to copy.
The silence.
One thing to copy. My mother loved to hug. She loved to hug me. And I do copy that a lot because I know how that felt, and I want my kids to feel that as well.
Yeah, my parents apologized. They were good about that. And my mother was very touchy-feely. She was a hugger. I'm not, which is weird. I don't like physical touch.
I'm not either.
Yeah, but my daughter will ask, and even though, because sometimes I tell her no, because I can't do it. But now I've been talking to myself and be like, just give her the damn hug, because she's gonna hate you eventually if you don't. You're just gonna have to sacrifice that shit. So I definitely, I'm a little bit more of a hugger, and I try to be more affectionate, lovey kissy. But one thing I don't is the yelling. My parents, they didn't know how to express themselves when they were highly emotional without yelling and tearing each other down and their kids. And they always went below the belt. And so I just make sure that I don't do that with her. Like I could speak to her like she's sensible. So yeah.
Not Christine's still over there in the same pose.
I know.
Like a thing to copy. My mother wasn't. The things that you guys are saying that you would copy are the things that I do to her now. That I'm like, I want that when she's older, her child will be like, oh, I love these things, and she'd be like, oh, that's what my mom always did.
Right.
Something that my parents did that I would want to copy. I guess the only thing would be like sharing video games with us when we were younger, and we do that now. So I will say that's I found something. Video games. It is sad. It's sad,
harder for me because, like I said, I was raised by my grandparents, so they were like much older. So it wasn't like I could do a lot of stuff. Like we was a church house, and like 3 times a week, it was like, bro, like.
Me too.
Because you had
2
all the
times a
stuff.
week.
Yeah, like you had choir rehearsal, whatever kind of meeting you had, then you got church on Sunday, sometimes twice on Sunday. I'm like,
twice on Sundays, and then we did Wednesday nights.
But it's just like I felt like me and my grandmother got closer after my grandfather died because it was just like me and her in the house together. So I feel like I went from like I did not like my grandma because I felt like she was mean, but it was just her being protective because she had been through so much stuff. And then it's like when he died, I kind of we spent more time together and we talked more, so I kind of understood her point of view more for certain things because like she was very conservative, like we went to church a lot. So like soon as my granddaddy died, she was like, oh, like you could go ahead and get on the pill, like that kind of thing. Like I'm like, my grandma asked me to get on birth control. Look, I'm over here like, excuse me. But like she was just on some shit like, she was still working and it was just me and her, and she I had a boyfriend, so it was just on some shit like to keep you from getting pregnant. It's just it was a logical decision. So she did a lot of things that surprised me. Like I'll never forget, like when I got my period, she just like calmly went in the room and grabbed like pads and was like, this is what's going on, because I thought I was dying. Again. It was horrible because it was just like you wake up on a Saturday morning. I'm just thankful it didn't happen at school.
Yeah,
right.
But like
That's
woke up Saturday morning and I looked down. I'm like, what? Like what is going on? Like it feel like somebody stabbing me and there's blood. Help! Like
right? Like you feel like you're dying.
Yeah. So it was. That's my girl now. Like there's just we inseparable now.
Oh, that's sweet. That's cute. Like I do feel like I have a better relationship with my mother now. And there was a show that I watched that really made me kind of understand her mindset. It was on Netflix, or it is on Netflix. It's a Netflix original series. It's called Made. I recommend every mother watch this movie. and it has Anika Noni Rose is in it as well. And this girl that the main chick, I don't really know her name, but it's a great, great show. And watching this show, I was like, okay, I understand my mom a little bit more because we had a rough childhood, very rough childhood, but understanding why she stayed there, and kept us there, I had more understanding. It's still not at a place that I can talk to her about yet.
Yeah.
Personally, for me. And it's funny because me and my husband were talking the other day, and he was like, he would like, he wants to have the conversation, at least even for me, to ask, like, why did you stay in this situation if it was this bad? Why did you let these things happen? All this other stuff. I am not ready for that conversation yet. I'm definitely not ready for that.
There's things I can't
I have
talk
a little
to
bit
my
more
mom
of
about
understanding.
either, but that's because like I said, I grew up with my grandparents from like a very young age, and then I'm an only child, and then it's like now it's kind of sad because I feel like me and my mom didn't really have like a close relationship growing up. And then it's like at the time when I became an adult where I wanted to be closer to her, she got sick. So like she's still alive, but she's sick. Like it's like there's not a lot of stuff that like we can do now because she had like a stroke. So she's like in a nursing home, and it's all because of my fucking stepdad. That's why I said I hate my stepdad. So that's why I always tell my husband, like, as much as I love you, I love myself more. I would never let a man drive me to the point where like I can't be here for my kids. And so that's why I was like, I try to do stuff with my kids now because like me being an only child, like we never had like those mother-daughter days where like, oh, let's go to the mall and shop, or we got our nails done. Like we didn't have that. And then it's like when I got to the age where I could do that for her, like, oh, let me take you here, let me do that. I couldn't. He took that from me because he got her to a point where like she was so stressed out, like she had a stroke, and it just kept getting worse, and then she wasn't taking care of herself on top of that. So it was just downhill, and it's still downhill, and it's still like it's just like a lot to unpack with that. But it's like my grandmother, like I said, we kind of became closer after my granddad died because I was spoiled. Like he was the only dad I knew. So like he spoiled me. He was much older than my grandma. So like when he died, it's like we didn't have anybody else but each other. So we had no choice but to really kind of get close. And then I kind of understood more so, like how she was brought up because she was in more of the country of Mississippi than I was. So, it's just her sister basically raised her. She had 4 kids. Her sister had like 13. That was back in the day when motherfuckers having 13 kids.
Goodness.
It's like, it was like a lot. So once I started to talk to her more and understand stuff more, then it's like, because old people aren't as progressive sometimes.
They're not.
Like, even though my grandma's from the country, like I have a cousin that's married, like he married like a man, and like his mom didn't go to his wedding, but like my grandma told her, you're wrong for that. Like she was like, at the end of the day, if you don't agree with it, that's still your child. Like, why would you not go to his wedding? I'm looking at my grandma like she's 70 something, almost 80 years old, and I'm like, if she thinking like that, like how are you not thinking like that?
Like that,
like, so I appreciate, like the stuff, and I'm pretty sure like things we've said and done with her have also influenced the way she thinks about stuff. But I could just say I can appreciate the type of person she is, and that we have like a close relationship because I don't have that with my mom.
But can I piggyback on what you said? Because a lot of the time, and it's gonna be real quick because I know it's almost 2:00 in the morning, but a lot of the times the reason why I look back and I not necessarily forgive a lot of the stuff that my parents did, or like my grandma, because my grandma was kind of mean, my dad's mom. It's almost like we're not far removed from slavery and from segregation. Like my parents were were kids when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
Right.
So the South was still very much segregated around that time. My grandmother, thank God, her father owned land, but his father was a slave. So it's just like a lot of the time, like I think especially with Black people, a lot of our love comes from a place of trauma, and that's passed down through generations. So I could look back and I could be like, you know what, my grandma responded the way that she did. I know she cares, but she couldn't afford to be kind because of the time that she was raised in. So it was just like, does this still grind my gears? Do I still have some sort of something against her? A little bit, because she used to hurt my feelings. I was a fat child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't eat Twinkies to this day because she cussed me out because I ate 2 Twinkies back to back. But I was a little fat baby. I just wanted my Twinkies. You know, so it's just like, I don't know. Like I look at that and I'm like, yeah, as far as like when it comes to older people, I could give them just a smidgen,
a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
And it's more so you have to do it for yourself too. Like, you know, you got to kind of have to not
to
hold on to that
heal.
stuff. Because I always tell my husband that I don't like people who become the villains of their own story. Like, if you know you were treated this way and this affected you like this, why would you do that to somebody else?
Right.
And I just that really bothers me. And I'm just like, you have to do
Hurt
better
people,
than what
hurt
you were.
people.
Right. But it's like, at some point you have to look in the mirror and be like, it's me. Like, it's not everybody else, it's me. Like, it can't always be everybody saying I'm the problem. I'm the problem. And I need to like look at myself and see what it is. So that's why I think that kind of be better as a person.
I think that kind of goes back to basically where this conversation has kept going about parenting. I think the seeds that we plant into our children grows. And when they get older, they're still affected by those things. And I think like the aspect of apologizing to your children, I think that alone goes a long way because they learn accountability.
Yep.
And they learn that it's okay for you to mess up, that it's okay to make a mistake, apologize, and move forward. So many people cannot get over things now. So many people
hold grudges,
cannot admit that they are wrong, and they will take that to their grave. And will vehemently just like defend this thing when they know they're wrong. They've been exposed for being wrong, and they just cannot admit it. It's I think it affects maturity. It affects so many things. And then the interactions that those people that have those damages do, that damage affects somebody. And what do you have? People who are scorned by this person, and then they put that into their children. It just becomes this domino effect. You know? So I do feel like I love the conversations that we're having, and I love the direction that this has been going. And I think that at least when our kids go out into the world, and well, some of your kids are older already, right? So they're already out. They're planting and helping to continue planting better trees out there. Eventually, if more people are doing similar things or agree with these thought processes or have a version of it to some similarity, the world will eventually be a better place. One funny thought I had, like when Leash was talking about, you know, her parents were alive with Martin Luther King. I keep wanting to say MLK, Martin Luther King. And then before you said your great grandpa was a slave, right? And I thought to my mom, y'all in Jamaica, what was your excuse? Like,
well, I mean, they had their own little version of stuff.
They did. They had
the occupation and whatnot. But now she's saying that her daddy might be Irish, like a white man. And so I don't know what to do with that. But nonetheless, like,
oh my goodness.
Like, now we're good. It's just
look, everybody got their thing. The Irish had their thing too. You gotta look at it. Look, on do your 23andMe.
But yeah, I do like, now I can have certain conversations with her. I can't have like the deep, and that's on me right now. I'm not ready to,
and that's okay,
ask her why yet. Yeah, I think I will eventually get there. But I will say that it did make me the person that I am. The things that I parent my daughter how I wanted to be parented. I wanted to have the huggy, lovey-dovey, hugging all the time type of person. That I want her to be built up. I don't want to break her down. I don't want her to feel less than in any way. I want her to feel empowered, and that matters to me. So so Mr. Moonman asks, how's everybody doing? Also, happy Mother's Day. I'm good.
I'm good. I'm a little hungry.
I'm
tired.
I think I can say with confidence that I'm about to be a new homeowner, me and my husband.
Yeah.
So I'm very, baby, that process was stressful. You heard
it's
me?
A
like
long process,
we've been dealing with it for like 2-3 months. So it's like I'm tired. I was tired of being stressed. when I got that congratulations email, I was like, thank you, Lord, because I'm tired. Like, I'm like, my edge is getting thin. I'm like, please.
Not the edges.
So yes,
Oh,
I'm so
wow.
happy. So that's why my cupboards are bare behind me because we packed.
That's okay.
Hey,
That's good.
Going to your new space.
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready to lock my door and be like, do not disturb.
Mhm.
Sebastian asked, when was the first time you wanted to? He said, I think, choke your kid in the throat.
Chop.
I think,
Wait.
chop,
I think he meant
chop
chop.
your
Yeah,
kid
he
in the
meant
throat.
chop.
Yeah, chop your kid in the throat.
When my daughter said that I dressed like a Pokemon trainer the other day.
I thought you said you thought it was cute.
I mean, I did think it was cute, but it was a good roast. So I'm like, damn.
I'm gonna tell you this one time that sticks out in my mind.
It was
that
a
I
good
almost got
roast.
my son, that's the oldest now. At the time that I was pregnant with the youngest one, so maybe like that was 7 years ago. So like I'm really, I've grown. Look, I've grown. I don't like when you ask somebody, did you do, like, if I'm asking you, did you do blah blah blah, I already know you did it.
Didn't
So I don't like when you lie to me like that. So like I'll never forget like sitting on the couch and then my son was like down the hall and like on the staircase. And I remember asking him if he did something and he just kept telling me no, that he didn't do it. And I kept asking. And before I knew it, I had shot up off the couch and was at the stairs, full blown, like 8 months pregnant. And like Trey had to like bust out of the bathroom and like jump in between us because I was like this close. And when I tell you, I'll never forget his face. It looked like he had seen about 10 ghosts. Trey was like, girl, if you don't sit your ass back down on this couch when this baby come out here. But I was this close to snatch him because like, do not lie to me. Like when I'm asking you if you did something, I'm asking you more than once. I already know you did it. But the pregnancy hormones was on 1,000 too. So it was like that helped the situation. But when I tell you Trey probably saved his life, y'all.
Oh my goodness.
Like the way it was like we had like a half bathroom, and like if you come out of the half bathroom, the stairs go up. So like he just like, I'm coming down the hall, Trey coming out the bathroom, he coming down the stairs. He had to like intersect in the middle, like please. He was like, whatever your mama asking you, his eyes are so he's like, please tell her the truth so she can sit her ass back down.
That's funny.
But I'm just like, I'll never forget like that moment because like, girl, I was hot. I was hot.
I can't remember the first moment. I know it happens sometimes because even though she's 4, there are times where I just have to look at her and be like, I just want to sit you in the backyard by yourself for a little bit.
Not in the backyard.
Wow.
We have a fence, so she'll be okay. But I can't remember. I can't remember the first time. But she tries. She tried. Like, kids will try. Huh?
Yes.
It touched you.
Yes.
That's a gangster.
Because they're the only ones who know how to push your buttons. So it's just like, my buttons don't get pushed that often, but my daughter knows how to woo.
Right up in there. Fingers right up in there. And then the last question we have is, do any of you have the siblings? And if so, which caused more chaos during your youth?
I was told because I was the middle child, but they're liars. I don't want to hear it.
No comment. I'm an only child, but I have 3 kids, so I can say that middle child. Something that one is something else, honey.
My mama a middle child, and she definitely has like a victim type of syndrome thingy thing.
Victims.
Yeah, everybody's against her. Nobody wants to be around her. Oh, nobody loved me. I was the middle child out of 5 girls.
And look, with me, I got away with stuff because they was too busy trying to monitor the oldest and too busy trying to monitor the youngest. So I was just incognito. I was just sitting in the back watching everybody else get in trouble or doing my own little thing. So I was good.
It's just me and my brother, but we're 10 years apart. He's older, so I was basically raised as an only child, but I was definitely the wild child. Like my brother's very stoic, doesn't really get easily excitable. When he does, it's like a
chaos.
Yeah, I was the chaos. I'm the one who did the most. But yeah, my brother's like, he's real, like he's like I say he's like an NPC. He gets up, go to work 6 days a week. Wait until he got married to have a kid.
NPCs.
Yeah.
Don't get beat up calling people NPCs.
He is an NPC. My brother is just very like, he does what he needs to do. He's a good dude at the end of the day, and that's it. He just goes to work and take care of his family. That's it.
Yeah, I was very like I'm not going to lie, I was hard. Like I was the type of person like my sister was waiting the end of the day to get the ice cream cone for the ice cream truck, and I wait until she get her sprinkles on there, and I just like slap it out of her hand. Like I would do stuff. I would do stuff like that, and then I was sneaky, like the stuff that I would tell my dad. I was a terrorist, and I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was like, you know, it was a rumor that you used to sell drugs. And I said, I did. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I did. And he was like, what? He like they did because they didn't pay attention to me. Like they were paying attention to that. So I was just doing my own little thing and nobody noticed.
So
do you think you did it? Do you think you did it because you wanted them to pay attention to you, or you was just bored?
I was bored. I wanted nice things, being greedy.
Yeah.
Slanging the coke.
Yep.
All my siblings was way older, so.
Oh, you were basically raised as the only child.
Yeah, baby. So
I know one thing I'll never forget. My last sleepover, because I didn't have siblings, so you know my cousins used to come over, like, because you know in the country your cousins might as well be your siblings because they're all the time. I hated when they came over because if one of us got in trouble, we all got in trouble.
All of them, yeah.
But I'll never forget my cousin's dad. Like when my aunt died, she died like pretty young, but he got remarried. I couldn't stand this bitch stepmama for nothing. But she like her because she was like that lady that like if you came and spent the night at their house, even though you're a guest, you got to do the dishes, you got to sweep the floor, and then she always like comment on your weight, even though her shit was popping open. I'm like, I don't like that shit, but like. But she her daughter was cool though, like I messed with her daughter, like my cousin's stepsister was cool. I'll never forget my grandma didn't like you. My grandma wasn't the type to let me go to sleepovers and stuff like that if she didn't know like your folks like that. So they just well please, like my cousin was gonna be there. She was like she didn't want to be there with them by herself. This is the stepsister's family. That was my last sleepover because them bitches was playing Bloody Mary and Candyman, and I forgot how old I was. But I'm like, what black people do this? Like what? Like why y'all
this
like,
right here?
This? Because like they had like older siblings, and the older siblings was the one coming in the room where the younger ones was like where I was at, and then playing. This was like I had to be like 12, 13, I know, somewhere up in there. And you coming in here cutting off the lights, saying Candyman and Bloody. We don't do this shit at our house. I was like, y'all finna have to take me home because
that's crazy. When I did the Candyman thing, I did it on a packed school bus because I was like, if this thing works, we gotta go in the dark.
You gotta be in the mirror
in the dark.
We
did it in the bathroom.
In the daytime with the full packed bus of kids. So if it had worked, we would all been gone.
I didn't go to sleep. I'm over here like y'all finna fucking where your mama at? Because I'm like somebody finna take me home. Because why the fuck they playing like this? This is my first impression of your people. Like I haven't even been over here nothing but like a couple hours. As soon as we get in the bed, this what your fucking people do? Like, and they grown, they like almost grown. They like high school to get out or college age playing. Bitch, I'm 12, 13. Why y'all in here like that? Like. You not even a part of the sleepover. Like, why are you here?
You're not
we did that, and my dad heard us, and he went in the basement and like shut the lights off and the circuit breaker. We almost feed ourselves.
I really was like, I'm not playing these your people because like this. This impression you trying to make don't never ask me to come over to this bitch no more.
That is wild.
I ain't go to no more sleep. I kid you not. That was my last one.
That'll do it.
Why is you
here? Because
for
real, if you in a sleepover with like 10 to 13-year-olds, you damn near grown. Why are you here? Like, why are you playing with the light, playing in the mirror, doing shit that black people don't do? Like, why would you do that? Then I was the nerdy girl that like I loved horror, so I knew that Bloody Mary was based off a real person. She's in the encyclopedia, bitch. Like, don't play with me like that.
She's in the encyclopedia.
That's the kind of defense I had. Like, y'all really want to put this? She's in the encyclopedia. Like, look her up. Don't look up Elizabeth. I'm not playing with her.
Oh my goodness.
That's funny. But this has been an amazing night. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, our panelists that have been here. Shout out to Sheera and Miss Pinky. They had to leave earlier because I mean this it's about to be 2:00 if it ain't past our it's 2:14. I have not been looking at the time at all.
Me either.
But yeah, that's the best times, when you just let time fly and you just laugh and nearly cry. Like there are moments where you guys had me near to tears and I was like, keep it together.
I'm surprised you didn't. This is the second time we done did something like this and you didn't cry. I'm proud of you.
I'm trying out here in these streets. But yeah, there are moments where my heart is full moment,
Yes.
If I journaled, I would put this in here. If I did. I need to start again because
Day
but anyways
137 of lockdown.
Like today I need to I do want to start doing it. I got to. This mind is going all over the place. I need to settle it. But yeah, which reminds me, later this month we are going to have a mental health conversation. It's going to be with a bunch of creators. I want to have that discussion about mental health in our field and what it's like to do what we do and have mental situations, we did have something similar to that conversation. I want to say last year or the year before, I think it might be 2 years now, that we had it. And I do want to bring it back. It is something that I think is important and needs to be discussed more because a lot of people, there are intersections where those conversations don't happen. And I think it needs to. So that'll be later this month. And then in June, we'll be having the Father's Day conversation. That'll be similar to this, where I'll just tell them there's no game. Although I might still choose one because I don't know if they're gonna be as conversational. I hope they will be, but
they might be because content creator men love to hear themselves talk. And this is coming from somebody who loves to hear themselves talk. Content creator men love to hear them. I'm a man. That's all you hear.
No, but this is what I like.
Love you. Who's gonna be on there? I'm talking mess, and I don't even know who goes.
Right? I don't know. Like some of them are talkative, but then some will just be like, "Oh yeah, ditto that." I'm like, okay, I want it to be conversational. I want you to say more. This is your platform, bro. Be you. But yes, thank you guys so much for coming up. Before we close out, if you don't mind telling the people where to find you, and if you have anything that you're doing and you want to shout out, then here is your moment. We are going to start from the bottom and work our way back. So that means we start with you, Leash.
All right. I have nothing going on. You can catch me on Twitch. Friday through I switched up some stuff. So Friday through Sunday, I'm on Twitch. I stream late, so you can catch me anywhere from 9. I start at 10. It depends. Mondays, I start. Oh yeah, Sons of the Forest. Yeah. We play that on Fridays. Thursdays, I'm always with Christine. I speak to Christine.
Thursday, Friday. We love it.
Christine adopted me. She said, "You're going to be my friend." I had no choice. I had no choice in the matter. So it is what it is. On Mondays, I actually do stream on YouTube now. I just started. I've been doing it for like 2-3 weeks, and I actually like it. So we play story games on Monday. Normally, it's going to be scary games during the weekend. And on Tuesday, I play a game with one of my good friends here on Twitch. And that one's a little raunchy because he nasty. And then I get a little raunchy too. So it's like, that's definitely for grown people. So do not come to my stream on Twitch if you're not over the age of 21. So yeah. That's it.
Not even the 18-year-olds can.
Not even the 18-year-old. Like you are still not old enough to know.
Exactly.
Tina, what about you?
I do not have anything for myself personally coming up. I do have some events for Screen Reaper. So if you are into horror, we are going to be doing horror panels, movie trailer reviews. I do stream Monday, Tuesdays on my channel, Wednesdays on Screen Reapers, and Thursdays on my channel, and Saturdays on YouTube. You can find me everywhere. at the Female Phenom. Thank goodness I didn't have to change my name and crap. But anyway, you can find me there, and I will see all of my new friends next time.
Hey.
I love the A.
You can steal it.
What about you?
I have nothing going on really. But I do stream on Twitch. You can find me at Allure1. You can also find me on Instagram, Ash4_ then Allure. The same for Twitter, and TikTok. But I just started kind of posting on YouTube, so seeing how that goes. But yeah, that's about it.
Hey, yeah.
There you go.
All right, and Tasha.
Where do I start? If you like reactions, anime, K-drama, that kind of thing, trailer reactions, you can find me at Married2TheReal. Me and my husband have that channel together. I do stream. I can't really give you a schedule. I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. I just know I'm normally live every Friday on Twitch. My Twitch is just Tasha Gaming, which Christine thought my name was just Asha. So
she doesn't have another T.
I thought I was cute by just doing the one T to combine them, and she's like,
just Ash. And they're like, this is Tasha. I was like, oh, what Tasha?
So
it's G-U-S. I mean J-U-S. Just Tasha.
And then Tasha, but you know, everybody always think I'm Ash. So that's my Twitch. And then of course my store is Self-Care Self-Love LLC. Like I said, everybody has to take care of themselves at some point. Even if you might want to take care of somebody else, that's fine too, but you can't do that if you don't take care of yourself. So that's kind of how that came about. And my products, I try to make sure I don't use anything harmful. A lot of people don't know that your skin is the biggest organ on your body. So, you know, you got to take care of yourself. I make natural and vegan stuff. We ain't got no formaldehyde over here. So,
I'm going to be reading products now because I'm like,
read them labels, son. Because there's so much stuff that you think is like good for you that's not. Because like if you don't know, I know like in New York they just banned like a lot of washing powders and detergents for like having certain stuff in it that's carcinogenic and all that. It's like everything now is just like kind of screwed up. So it's just a matter of just picking your battles. Cause let me not do that because I ain't trying to get sued. I ain't gonna call no big names. But I know there's like a brand that I like too that's really big that they sell at like Target and other places. And then you know me, like I make my own stuff most times, but like every now and then I'm gonna be a girl and go splurge and get stuff that everybody else getting too. And then I brought it home and I'm like, oh, this shit smell good. Then I look at the back because I have a habit of doing that. Red number 5, yellow number 7. I'm like, y'all doing this? I'm like, y'all, look, I'm over here hurt. Like this is you right now.
Wow, Lord.
So like, yeah. So yeah, it sucks, but hey. And y'all ladies, do not be shy about messaging me. I'll hit you up. It may take a week or 2 for you to get it, but at the end of the day, because it just depends on what my load is looking like over here. I might wait until I got like a full stock of new stuff to try to send y'all stuff. But if y'all want something, I would love nothing more than to support y'all that way. So y'all just message me. DM me on Discord, whatever, and I got y'all.
Will do. Thank you.
Make sure you do it. I'm gonna ask her later. I'm gonna be like, Tasha, did any of them DM you?
And I need to send you some new stuff because my summer sense is hidden, girl.
Well, you got my address. So, thank you guys so much for coming through and joining our conversation. Those who have been watching and stayed with us throughout the stream. We greatly, 3 hours and 50, it's about to be a 4-hour stream. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with us. And I do hope that those watching, had something that they took away from the stream, whether it was just enjoyment, whether it was camaraderie or relatability. I did see some people who were like sharing their answers. The other mothers were sharing their answers to some of the questions. And that was really, really great. So I really appreciate you guys. And I will be streaming tomorrow. We're playing Grounded.
Oh, shoot. I got to see you 3 days this week. Jeez. Gee willikers. I'm just playing. I'm excited.
Gee willikers. Yeah, because it's going to be our goodbye episode to Ego. So everybody come out and so we can say goodbye to Ego because he's quitting us. He broke up with us.
He broke up with us. Yeah. We were too crazy. You know.
No.
That wasn't his actual reason. He actually works, so he picks up shifts during that Thursday night, so he can't come Thursday nights. But he did also quit us on Forest. I'm like, you can't skip one of them days. Like, do you got to work both of them days?
But you gotta work to leave.
We gotta talk. We gotta. We'll talk to him about it and harass him about it more tomorrow.
Oh, definitely.
Kristen, you need to play more scary stuff so you can invite me, and I can
And
murder
me
you in Dead by Daylight.
If y'all want to play, don't
you
we got
play Dead by Daylight,
Yes,
Tasha?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Toxic as hell.
Oh,
we got
Let's go.
She is like it's
Please don't. Please.
it's something.
I'm embarrassed.
Okay.
I'm a toxic
She invited
killer.
me for
I'm
her
not gonna
community
lie.
night, and I like murdered all of them.
I have voices and everything. It's a good time.
She just
Dead by Daylight. What is that? Yuck.
Not that yuck, please.
she's a queen in that as well. Actually, the first time I saw her stream, the first time I saw you, Leash, you were playing Dead by Daylight.
That wasn't me.
Here.
That was you.
Yes, it was.
We're gonna have to play sometimes because Christine ain't trying to play with me after.
Oh, I'm down. I'm a survivor man though. I don't play killer at all.
I play both, so
I
like
I can do
killer.
both.
I can't do killers. It's too boring for me.
I'm like terrified of with you guys because you guys play the game. I just
well, you gotta get into it more.
I'm casual. I don't play it like that no more.
I'm not a diehard person. Like, I'm not going to, if you mess up a gen, I'm not like, what the f are you doing? I don't do
Oh no, I'm not afraid of that. I'm afraid of
the killers.
These killers.
Oh,
y'all being a killer or me being the killer and y'all being so expert that I don't kill nobody. That is ain't fun.
It fun.
That's a part of it though until you play it more. Like
you gotta play,
It's fun.
I'll throw it in my repertoire more.
Can I just say that as a killer, I love being Michael Myers because just seeing people jump when I'm staring at them is hilarious. That's like
high school.
Oh gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Let's we can play. The scary game. Leash, wasn't that scary game that I was telling you about? Roots of Pacha. That game.
Yeah. No,
I haven't heard of that one.
Roots
what
of
is
Pacha.
that about?
It's kind of like Stardew Valley.
It's a life simulator.
But it's scary.
No.
But life is scary.
She said no.
It is.
I am not playing no.
If it's like Stardew, that's not. I'm like, please.
Like Cult of the Lamb.
Life is scary. Life is scary.
Have you done one on the Demonologist?
I love Demonologist.
We played that.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
played
got the
it.
hospital unlocked in Russia. That's scary.
Really? We didn't play that much.
Thank you guys so much for coming through the stream. We appreciate you guys so much for everyone watching. Make sure you guys follow everybody. Their links are in the description box below. We love y'all. And
not you trying to cut me